came up with a few actionable steps. Did you guys see those?
Where? You know the link that you sent me, I couldn't, was a 404 error?
Oh, yeah. That might have been a problem. I marked that as private. Not really sure what that means in our version of WordPress right there.
You're talking about on the St. Paul University thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to click that link and it put me in.
Obviously, that made it so no one could get to it.
Well, I
except for through the dashboard.
Yeah, you have to be logged in to see it as
go.
an admin or something.
Or something.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I'm not one of those.
Yeah. Yes, I know. So that was my.
I was like, oh, hey. Well, no, we want to keep it private. It makes sense. I just didn't.
There used to be a button in WordPress. That's what I was looking to press was one that says exclude from search engines or something like that. I don't see that button anymore. So
there's a site-wide thing. I don't think there's a local, like a per page one anymore.
yeah,
I'm sure there's a plugin that'll do it if you want to do that.
yeah, we might have to put that in there. So
But you can make it
just so
password
that's
protected.
unlisted. Well, I thought that would be too complicated.
Yeah, it might be.
Unless we can all agree on the same password.
Oops, 404. Yeah, I can't even get to it. I guess I need to log in.
I don't know where that. I thought I had that mail saved. I guess I don't see it.
So that was my faux pas. So I want to take just like the first few minutes to
Well, I gotta get in there so I can see them
repeat
first.
that.
I gotta find that email. Or did you send me Discord? I can't remember now.
Probably Discord.
No, not Discord. Facebook Messenger, maybe.
No.
Oh, yeah, there's a messenger. Go away.
Oops. Big ol' oops.
Big ol' 404, yeah. They don't like me. That page does not exist. So, I guess I won't look at those.
Well, I will. Mark them on the board here. We'll go through them.
Oh, okay. Or you can copy it to an email.
Oh, yeah. Or put them in Discord, actually.
Yeah, it would work too. I got that there.
And we get out there.
All those would work. So where did you get this sales questionnaire? What
Now, that is really cool. Since that was sent to me, it's, would you fill this out? So we're doing some research. I'm like, holy shit.
that is, who sent that to you?
It was a news aggregator. So it was very interesting, I thought.
Why is that?
Because of all of the items, all the questions they asked. It's like, oh, some of these questions I never even thought of for sales. This would work out probably for you really well. For your,
There's only two questions.
well, yeah, but the options
You know, the options
are enlightening, I thought.
they're weird.
Is that weird?
They're weird.
Well, I wouldn't even thought to ask some of those.
Physiographic and technographic. Yeah.
I mean, interesting keywords, too.
Well, technical. I mean, that's basically it's more of a okay.
Yes, more of a K.
Like,
Special K.
well, yeah. I mean, technographic segmentation. Like, okay, so we're meaning those who are either not tech savvy or limited access to technology?
Well, it would be a spectrum. I mean, it's like, do you target those as your market? I mean, what is your? They're basically asking like, what's your favorite way of doing this?
What's your suitable for your e-commerce business?
And who thought? Who knew some of those things? I was like, it was very neat.
Geofencing is normal.
Real.
Behavioral symptom.
Real neat set of a beautiful query, I thought. No, I can't find it.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for the page I made.
It's just / Just Us League with hyphens. Do you want me to copy paste
Where
this?
did I put that? That's weird.
I don't know.
So strange. Oh. Yeah, okay. Here we go. Yeah, so the all-in-one plugin wants to put everything in Google. That was freaking out. Okay, so the first one is make quit your job 2 years worth of training in 6 months, 6 payments of XXX. That's something that we can do before we launch. That's an actionable step that came out of last week, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing was create a better avatar for our suspects, people that were.
Suspects?
Well, they start out as suspects, then they turn into prospects.
Suspects. We're going to arrest them.
So we need to dial that one in. And then promote lifestyle, not system details. And then use a 3-step funnel. The $7 product, the $2.95, and then the $14.95 or whatever, $19.95, whatever the price is. And focus on making it make more money course, and we help you make a lot of money. Like the first step is $7, the second step is make even more, and then the third step is, insanely will help you make
Insanely.
Yeah. Then the other actionable step was consider creating a physical products affiliate program platform, which feeds us our students and more. Which that's a really cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the biggest idea to come out of last week, and then get a backup private group system in place because Facebook's gonna screw us.
Oh,
That deal.
Backup private. Oh, yeah, that's. Oh.
So any of those things you want to talk about before we get off track and into other more exciting things?
I don't even see them.
Okay.
You can
Here,
click the
look.
link now.
Oh, can I? Okay.
I made it public, and then I turned off the robots thing so that they're not gonna spider it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I did what you wanted it to do, I think.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, I will click the link now as soon as I get.
Oh, and then there was a
Finish
note
updating.
there for Daniel to share an inspirational ClickFunnels video for David and I to view in concert. Maybe we can do that this week. If you pick one that you think. would-
Yeah. What do we want it to be about?
Uh,
I'm so confused.
I don't know. I mean, David Gibson, what do you think?
I don't know what you're talking about. So how about we start there?
Well, you told us yesterweek.
That I never-
Yesterweek.
Yesterweek.
that you.
Last week, or last week, as some of us call it. I mean, either one works.
that we were that you understood about ClickFunnels.
I understood nothing about ClickFunnels.
Okay, well you showed me some stuff on your computer.
Well, yeah, that I looked at it and know that they exist,
Okay, gotcha.
and
So-
I knew you were using Click or whatever it was, whatever it was called.
ClickBank, you were looking up
I got
ClickBank.
ClickBank right here still.
Yeah.
No, it was what's the other one? No, funnel. ClickFunnels. Wasn't it? Yeah, that one.
This is so weird.
But wait, there's more.
Now I can't find my.
All right, I sort of know it's ClickFunnels. No can use Facebook. Cut off $2.78 on spam. On spam.
That was awful. That's just a review of the
I know, I'm
whole
going
thing.
through 'em.
Yeah.
Quite. There's a typo in there.
Hey. This is just us.
I know.
I'm not going to criticize anybody
I just saying there was a typo in there.
for it. Okay.
Where was that? I just missed it again. I lost it. Perfect.
So moving to the 3-piece thing, I think that's not a problem. That's something that we agree on. We all can go forward on that.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel and I can handle that part.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that makes especially when you're targeting people that may not have any experience trying to generate income online. I mean, that's the thing is there's
May or may not.
yeah, I mean there's people that are trying to and know it exists. One, right?
Uh-huh.
So you got the people that are attempting to already,
Uh-huh.
right, and not doing well.
Yeah.
And you got people that are like, it's all a scam and never works. And you got people that are like completely clueless as even what that would be.
Mm-hmm.
So you got kind of a three or more different kind of segmentation of that marketplace.
And I liked last week where we came up with the idea that why would we be reaching out to people that have a reinforced negative pattern already of failure?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's, and I think, an important key piece. I think if we're going to spend money on ads, we shouldn't spend it on those guys. You know, because they're already like, I've tried everything and failed.
Unless we're masochists and we just like.
We're into self-flagellation stuff.
Yeah. So you don't want to. I get that.
I mean,
I think that was a really wise idea.
Well, the thing is, the problem is though. I mean, it's almost like you're writing off people that might make it if they had a little more support. You know, it's a question of did they fail because they couldn't put forth the effort, didn't put in the effort, or did they fail because they just don't know what the hell they're doing?
I think everyone who's looked at one of these things online, everyone has looked at a funnel. and they have had the opportunity to choose the upsell and chose not to.
Mhm.
So they haven't got that. They haven't even taken the coaching step. A lot of
Right.
people take the coaching step, fail too. By the way,
Mhm.
you know, just because they don't have the diligence to make it through the process.
Mhm.
But
Well, it's a. I was gonna go that. I'm actually looking at.
it's that reinforced failure
They call that thing.
again. You know, do we want to try to avoid that in our
I ran,
advocacy?
yeah, I ran through an article though. Recent favorites, that's what I think. Favorites? No. I gotta find this article.
And did you get the Samcart link? Did you get a chance to sign into that and look at it?
I didn't get a link. You sent me the
Or the
text
link?
of it. I don't think there was a link in there.
Yeah, there's one.
Let me double check.
Where's my saved stuff?
So you can look at the funnel, and it's so amazing that their webinar is our webinar. Like, exactly. You know, it's like, but they got some really cool keywords in there that we're gonna steal for our next one.
Oh, I see. You mean actually in the email?
Yeah, yeah. You have to sign it, put in your email address, and go through all that.
I like the number. $1,729 per day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that works for Samcart. So I'm thinking that this is a good way for us to promote this. I mean, they're a decent size up and coming company,
Mm-hmm.
but you'll see the similarity in the script. I mean, it's exactly the same script format that we're using for the webinar.
Mm-hmm.
The format's the same, but they've done their research, I think, on some of the things that they say. So we're going to try to incorporate some of those things. And plus, you'll want to take a look at their funnel. Now, I'm also looking at this. ClickFunnels is pretty expensive for us right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like that's what we're going to be using for the girls and me and you for the products we already have almost in the can.
Yeah, probably.
So it's a little spendy, but this Sam's cart is like $389 or something like that, or $350 for the whole year. It's usually like 500 and something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's $350. It's for the whole year. That's really a better price point. If we can do the same thing with it, another reason why I wanted you to take a look at it. So he really focuses. The whole seminar is on the one-page funnel.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, I'm not exactly sure how one. I don't think one page is going to work for our three-step process that we want to do. So I think he has an upgrade for additional things, so another 150 or something for his OTO.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure whether that's a programming disability. I mean, like, oh, you can't have more than one page unless you pay the extra money, or if it's just for the training. So the $350 that you pay now pays for a whole year, and that's the price you have to pay. You don't have to pay the regular price for that year.
Yeah, I'm on the pricing page.
Mm-hmm.
Order bump and post-purchase upsells are part of the second tier, which is $99 a month,
Oh, $99 a month.
which is ClickFunnels, the exact same price.
Yeah, but I don't think it's that if you do the OTO for the upgrade.
Oh, for his thing?
Yeah, if you go through the sales offer.
Yeah, it may be cheaper,
Mm-hmm.
but it's probably only cheaper for a limited time. But that maybe is all we need,
Yeah.
because the normal one is $49 a month. But it has a free 30-day trial too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was thinking when we talked last time, because we were going to use the free iStream because that's just too much extra stuff
Mm-hmm.
to manage. But I was going to make a plugin for this round of people to do, where it's basically a page. They're making pages for the funnel
In WordPress.
in WordPress, and then I just add a little bit extra to manage the client stuff
Mm-hmm.
and do the Stripe payments and stuff like that. So,
Oh yeah.
um,
Then they wouldn't have to pay exorbitant cost of a ClickFunnels.
Mm.
It's kind of expensive.
Unless we wanted to teach it to them. I mean, we would get affiliate if they bought, if they.
ClickFunnels is stupid. I mean, it's not user friendly. I think.
Well, here's the one benefit of using something like that. It's now basically the industry standard. So if people wanted to hire somebody to make the funnels for them,
Right.
then they could do that. With our thing, they would not probably be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anybody that knew WordPress could figure it out because all the editing is going to be in the WordPress editor. But
Mm-hmm.
we're not going to have like all the cool templates that WordPress or that ClickFunnels has out of the box. Because they've got literally hundreds. And if you go to their Friday things, they give out like 7 a week, new ones.
Mm.
So that's the big benefit to using that, but it is way more expensive for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
But the other thing is we don't have to worry about, because once we start getting all these people lined up, you know, what if somebody like comes from this first class a year later and is like, I can't figure out how to make the plugin that you wrote work. We could be doing customer support for people, like tons of people. And if we don't really have an income stream from that, besides selling the course, then long term we could be screwing ourselves
Mm-hmm.
into. Because then if we have to hire people to help do that, if there's
the
like 100
advantage
people,
of using a third party, who
Yeah.
already does customer support.
because that's one of the biggest
We're out of that.
expenses for this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, we could just say, you know, you got luck too,
Mhm.
but that's not really how we want to lead people.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need help.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're screwed.
Seen that before.
I need your help. Too bad.
Yeah.
We no longer do that business. We're now a completely different business that's exactly the same,
Mm-hmm.
but a different name.
All right, Peter.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, I've seen that happen with shopping carts. Entrepreneurs like put together all this system. It's got all the bells and whistles of the day,
Mhm.
and then 2 years later they don't support it because they're off on their next project. It's like you're stuck. It's like if you can't figure it out, you're too bad. They stopped charging you for it. So. That's their option. I mean, they stop charging you for it, and then you're just left. You're like, all right, it's free now. Except for we can't fix anything. So that Sam cart thing might be something to look at.
Mhm.
See what you think about it.
There are other things that do a similar service, like drop funnels, I think is one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's cheaper. I'm checking now.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. Not at all.
So why do they charge so much money for that? Really, there's nothing to it. I don't get it. Probably because
Funnelman?
they can.
Yeah.
Probably because they can. People pay that price for it. So, and we will too if we have to, but it's a lot for someone who's just starting out to bear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone in our group would be excited about paying $150 a month or more. You really want the more if you wanted to include the affiliate piece.
Yeah, but you could easily, with the $100 a month one, or you can pay annually and pay less. It's like $70 a month, I think. If you do it annually,
Mm-hmm.
then that's more than enough to get started, making enough to where $300 a month wouldn't be a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't need to start with the affiliate thing or the other stuff that they have.
Mm-hmm.
But it is $100. Now it is a 2-week free trial, so that would be, if we adjust our plan slightly, not even slightly, I think it might actually work. We could do it to where they would have it up and ready to sell within the 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and then it would be up to them if they want to keep it. But they wouldn't have any upfront cost.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody followed it, they could get $100 in sales within 2 weeks pretty easily, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming they don't run into any of the advertising issues that we run into.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's not like you can just ramp up advertising super quickly now. It takes up to a week before Facebook will really show your ads widely. even if you are in good standing. So
Mhm.
that's something we'd have to get people started on. Like we'd have to have that in mind. Like people would have to have the ads ready to start the day that they get their ClickFunnels trial,
Mhm.
which we could do because we're planning on having all the copy pre-written basically.
Copy and paste, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we could even do that in like a text editor before, to
Mhm.
where literally the last week of this course, we're getting them on a free ClickFunnels. We have the ads written, we have the copy written, we have all the images there, and they're just spending one day copy pasting that all into the right spots in ClickFunnels and so on, and then putting the ads and going.
Mhm.
So that would reasonably, if somebody did all this stuff, they could reasonably get an income to where they're paying for all these services before their trial's up, and they didn't pay any extra.
Mhm.
So that's one option. The other option is we teach them our custom little plugin that kind of just, so that the benefit to that is they don't have to learn any of the ClickFunnels editor stuff,
Mhm.
but they'd have to learn. They would have fewer themes. They would have to learn this system, which is basically WordPress, but it's a little. Well, WordPress is quite a bit less flexible in the kind of designs you can do.
Yeah. Well, and I tell you the truth, because I'm thinking about working on the girls' funnels right now, and I'm thinking. My thought is, I get these funnels up, and then I create a course page in St. Paul's Free University with a click to the funnel.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be helpful if that's like the system that we're gonna use, then everybody's funnel should look the same. They shouldn't have too much creative expression in the funnel. And it should operate the same. We should use the same 3-step or whatever we decide on closing technique for the funnel so that they're all similar. We would have complete control of that if we did it your way. And at no expense to them.
Mm-hmm.
No, they don't have to pay anything out. But they're limited in their expression, just like they are with our websites.
Yeah, and people are not going to like that necessarily. We'd have to put some effort into convincing them to use it, because when you get creative type people, their first inclination is, I want to do something that looks completely different.
Which is great. They can go to ClickFunnels,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then have complete creative expression. Although the St. Paul stuff will all be the same. As it comes up in St. Paul's, but they can, like, if they want it to look different or act differently, have more, ads fly in or pop-ups or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
different kinds of things that you can do in ClickFunnels, then they can do that. But they have to go to ClickFunnels. They pretty much, and they at least would be closer to being able to operate ClickFunnels because we've taken them through this process. All the pieces will be the same,
Mm-hmm.
but the actual assembly of it would be different. And then there are those templates, which I've never been able to find yet. So I think they advertise drag and drop funnels, which I haven't seen those, because that's what my Reiki clients are using.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen them. I haven't built them myself. It's like, this sucks. I hate building funnels by myself, just because it's not very intuitive.
Well, the one that I used for our last group was one from them.
Mm-hmm.
It had all the blocks in place, and it just had little words like put this here, put that there.
Yeah.
Like what I gave you guys is basically what they gave me. So
Mhm.
that's pretty close to what you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
Or you're thinking
Yeah.
there'd be more. There's a ton of those. I don't know.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah. We just want one.
Yeah.
That's probably the 3-step funnel, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's the easiest one to, because you're getting contact information right out the gate for $7.
Mm-hmm.
They've already opted into your program, basically. They may not take another step after that, but you got their contact information. And we have their contact information. St. Paul's does. So that's a cool resource.
Well, it would be possible for us just to fill out all of our choices to make people's look the same, because we can give them a link on ClickFunnels to one of ours, and they can share it. So then they would use that. We would make a template basically based on one of, like the one that we did for the last group. I have that template still,
Mm-hmm.
we could fill it out a little more, and then with specifics for what we're doing, and then share them the link and be like, this is the design, and you fill in these spots, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So
You do that with ClickFunnels, where either it's like our ClickFunnels account or their ClickFunnels account, which ours is limited and lets you get the upgrade.
well, no, if they all got ClickFunnels accounts, we can give them a link and share our funnel with them.
Yeah.
As the basis.
Mm-hmm.
So it would allow us to have everybody's look the same
Mm-hmm.
and follow the same process.
Yeah.
It wouldn't prevent them from using something else if they really wanted to, but
So in ClickFunnels, so let's say everybody has their own ClickFunnels account. We can hook their ClickFunnels link on St. Paul's Free University. If they fail to pay or cancel their ClickFunnels account, then we have a link that doesn't work. And I would also like an option in there where like alumni can press a button and they get a special. Like if they completed another course through us that makes them alumni, then they click some kind of a something, or they have a code where they get half off or something because they're alumni.
yeah, but would we be able to sell these things without people being involved? Because a lot of the funnels that we did last time were like coaching at the end. So if the person's not even paying for their account and not doing it, we can't sell their coaching services. Can we? So if we wanted to make it,
Would they not?
who knows what they're going to do? They could take this thing, put up a funnel, and then a month from now be like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. So would they not do it for? Let's say their coaching program was $1,500 for $750. Would they not do the coaching gig?
Some people won't.
Really?
There's guaranteed to be some people that do this thing, put something up, and are like, never mind, I don't want to do this.
But then we could still do it.
Yeah, but we built them up as a character.
Yeah.
So now it's going to be like, hey, I'm Dave. You don't know me,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm going to be your coaching person.
Really?
No. So we'd have to readjust if we wanted to make evergreen funnels that we could take over after, which I don't even know if there's much value to that, honestly, because
That's kind of what we were doing with the .com. So.
yeah, well, that SEO, that's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
Because owning a website that has traffic and SEO cloud already
Uh-huh.
is useful.
Yeah.
But having a product like that where it takes intervention, and the whole sales process is around the person who created it, because we're doing the whole likable character thing. Like
Yes.
we're trying to sell personality, and if that person's not involved at all, we'd have to be very careful how the whole thing's designed, so that we could, if we wanted to continue without them. But then we're also having to do product support for this stuff. You know, what if they put something in there that's completely wrong? Now we're the ones responsible for it,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. So I don't know if we want to try to gear it to where we can, if they leave and we just keep their product, selling it, if that's what we really want to do, or if we want to try to keep people involved, and then, you know, it would limit the number of products that we have, but it might increase the quality. But that's one thing we've never really worked out is St. Paul's doesn't really have a business proposition for people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was talking to the engineer out here about this, and I showed him some SEO stuff before, and then he was kind of interested, but he said I don't have the time. And then anyway, 2 weeks ago, or maybe last week, he was talking to me about it, and then I told him what we're doing in here, and he was like super interested. So he wants to be in the next round of this stuff. But I told him about St. Paul's part, and his eyes glazed over. He's like, I don't understand what you're doing
Mm-hmm.
with the whole protection from, you know, freedom of the religion protection and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I feel like, an issue as far as St. Paul's, as separate from Quit Your Job for Life.
Mm-hmm.
People don't understand how St. Paul's is involved. They don't know why it's there. They don't know why they should be part of it. So we'd have to figure that part out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we don't have a sales track record for St. Paul's to even say that that's the reason.
Now, one way I perceive that this might go is this group, this set of $7 thing, $200 thing, and then finally this course is like a AAA team, and then we identify students and ask them specifically to be in St. Paul's, but we still don't know how to pitch that to people.
Right.
But so it wouldn't necessarily be like an automatic thing. It would be we're selecting the right people for it out of it.
Yeah. And they'd be qualified already out of the gate if they made it through this thing. So.
Yeah, it's like a pre-training, and then they would get more whatever support. Because when we first talked about St. Paul's, it seemed like you were interested in one, the religious protection stuff, but two, doing real life and assisting people with like real life events. So that might be something that we could pitch to people. You want to go to the next step? Well, St. Paul's has got we'll have the infrastructure and ability to help you do that, and we just take a percentage kind of thing. That could be a way to pitch it to people. I mean, there is like having an online store, but we've trained them how not to need that through this course. So I don't know how compelling that would be to people. And then what else did you talk about? The certification kind of a program where it could be part of the larger, you get credits by taking people's different courses.
Yeah. You need to figure that piece out. So, David Gibson,
Yes.
how does sales fit into all of this?
Well, you gotta know what you're selling first. I mean,
It's sounding to you like we don't know what we're selling?
it sounds exactly to me like you know what you're selling yet. Because you don't.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, you're still talking about, well, if we do this, if we do that, so there's not you haven't nailed down what you're doing.
True.
So then, that's how sales doesn't fit into it, because we don't really know what we're selling. So first things first, really, what are you going to sell? I mean, you're from a standpoint of, do you want to maintain a product that you didn't create, you don't know, you don't necessarily have the expertise to support? The answer is no, you don't want to do that, so you don't want to try to keep their stuff. You want to shut down a link and pull it off your website.
Well, the original
The hard part,
version of this was they would create a program.
right, and when they bail out,
We would get a copy of the book. They would get a copy of the book. Their copy of the book stays with them. The St. Paul's copy of the book stays with the St. Paul's publishing department as a textbook, so that we can add to and edit our copy and have it taught by other teachers at any time. So, as our textbook. So their name would remain on the book, and then as other people edited and contributed to the book over time, their names would be on there as well. And the title might not be the same title as they have for their book that they use to market themselves, to establish themselves as an expert in that field. That was the original
doesn't that sound like
concept.
really labor intensive?
Well, not for the teachers that come on after. It's labor intensive for the first guy who develops it, but they've done it in 90 days.
No, I'm saying, I mean, maintaining it, making sure, that just, okay.
Like,
One, you gotta find somebody who's competent in that subject matter.
right. So we basically would retire that course until we had somebody in that resonated with them.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then they could pick up that and say, well, if I'd done this course, and all of our courses are in the can, so easily any of our existing teachers they'd finish theirs, and they're like, oh yeah, I'd like to have like 6 more of these, and we got these sitting in the back room. I could do this, this, and this. Oh yeah, so I'll recreate the course material for these 3 things.
So in that case, if we had a backup material like that, then they would probably end up recreating the funnel themselves, or at least use a basis. But they would need to rejigger it to fit with what they're doing,
Yes.
with their personality and stuff. the tough part of that is it's not the content that is like the key to this. It's the people that can do it. There's not that many people out there who are comfortable picking up a new course they have maybe vaguely know about and going online and teaching people right away. That's kind of a unique skill set.
Mm-hmm.
So when we think about this, we need to figure out how do we attract those kind of people? How do we get them to stay?
Mm-hmm.
Or how do we find them even? Or do we need to build them up from our people? Like, and how much is that going to cost?
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I've never really never really clicked with me about how St. Paul's is there's not I don't get the buy-in for people just coming in. Like, why would they want to be part of this?
Mm-hmm.
It's never really been that compelling, I don't think. It wasn't very fleshed out either. It's just kind of an idea.
Right. Yeah.
Because we know what we want. We want a team of people that are able to teach all kinds of interesting stuff and get information out there that's not public, or get people out of that old 9 to 5 and really get to the maximum of their potential. But we haven't figured out how St. Paul's as an organization is going to earn income and be able to grow and get people involved that can stay involved.
Well, when we promote products, we get half of it. You know, so I mean, it's basically the same model I use for Olympia Life Coach. I brought in 12 other people to operate out of my system, but I got half of all their revenue. Half of the money goes to support the pain of doing the baby, taking care of the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And most people don't want that. Most people are like, I just want to go in and handle my clients and then not have to worry about overhead, not have to worry about advertising, not have to worry about any of that stuff. I'll just go in, do my job, and you charge a high enough price that half is good for me. So basically that's the same principle we want to use here. So
Well, that seems like the kind of the opposite of what we're aiming towards now, because we're teaching people how to do all that stuff themselves to advertise. But then, so how, like, would you and I just be doing all the advertising and stuff for people that are part of St. Paul's? Or like, are we hiring people?
Well,
or
I would be thinking that we're like developing, like St. Paul's, like it's like really like SEO wise is nothing right now. But
Yeah, exactly.
it would be we would like develop that into an Udemy program or Udemy program, whatever that's how you pronounce that, where it's out there actively looking for students.
So we'd have an advertising
And have-
campaign for St. Paul's.
Yeah, and then we'd also have the affiliate program, which, like, I would think that the alumni, because why not just, instead of just making money off of your course that you created, or the course, or the skill set that you developed from taking a course, you could also be an affiliate and make money off other people's courses too. So I think that's part of our, you could do that through St. Paul's, they could do it on one product. They just do it themselves. But because they're part of St. Paul's, they have this catalog of products and people that they can make money off of as well. Sometimes, and for someone with a good list, all I have to do is send an email and sell 100 courses.
Well, I wonder if it's too, because the main point of people being part of St. Paul's was, like you mentioned with Olympia Life Coach, was they give us 50%, but they don't have to worry about that stuff.
Right.
But then also, we're expecting those same people to choose to be affiliates and to make funnels for other people's products. So that seems like we're two different kinds of people there.
Not to make funnels for them, but
Or sell them somehow
yeah, something.
through their list and all this other marketing stuff that they don't want to have to do. So if somebody is doing all that marketing stuff, what benefit do they get from being part of St. Paul's? And then if somebody's not doing that marketing stuff, how could we?
Why is that a benefit to St. Paul's in the first place?
Yeah. So do we need two separate types of people involved? Are we selling the two different? We got affiliate marketing people, and then we've got creator types.
Oh, absolutely. You you absolutely gonna have two different types of people, because there are gonna be people out there that are just trying to sell something so they can make money.
Mm-hmm.
And they are really good at building lists or whatever, but they couldn't write content or teach a course to save their lives. And don't have any desire or interest in it. You know, that's those people that you're using things like ClickBank. They're not creating anything.
Yeah.
You know, they're just driving customers to whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what they want to do.
Well, so where's our unique value proposition then? Because we're kind of moving towards, we're another Udemy or we're a mastermind.com now, basically. Now, maybe we could get a better sales system if we attract the affiliate people. So we're kind of like combining a ClickBank idea with Udemy kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it's
a
like a
high-end
hybrid.
Udemy, yeah. But I don't mind I like the Udemy approach as far as like packaging all of their resources. And they do that, like they don't have an affiliate program. I think that, what would that do to Udemy? I think that'd be great. But right now they have the teachers promoting their own programs.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the platform, which is Udemy, and then so they put their course in there, and then the teachers are out there marketing their courses on their own, which go through Udemy,
Mm-hmm.
and they also through Udemy they can promote their products by offering special discounts and doing this and doing that and whatever, and then Udemy handles the front end of that, sends out all the emails to all the Udemy people, said, hey, we got this normally, $200 course. It's on sale for $15.99 if you get it in the next 72 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then they sell thousands of these courses in, 72 hours at $15.99 a piece or whatever the promo is.
Yeah.
So that's the advantage of us having the platforms that can be used like that as well. So we have the total list of everyone who's been in. If we want to promote somebody, we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Cross promote everybody. They can't do that on their own. Only we can do that because we have all the emails that have ever come in.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't have the emails that come in for the stuff they promote on their own. And I've always said, so when we promote it, we get 50%. When you promote it, you keep 100%. Like we put on a live event, we get 50% of everything everybody makes. They put on their own live event, we don't have nothing to do with that. It could be the same course. We can charge $10,000 for the course, and they can do it for $750 if they want. In a group, in a venue, group venue thing, and if they rent the facility and set up the promo and do all that, you get 1,000 people there.
Okay. Well, I kind of feel like we're way, with the stuff we've been doing is not leading us in that direction at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're spending weeks and weeks teaching people how to advertise, how to write SEO content, none of which is relevant to what would, if that was the final goal, to getting them to have a course on our centralized thing. That also dictates what we should have been doing from the beginning, which is if we were doing it like that, we have to have a centralized custom platform to do that. Where we can't have everybody's course on their own WordPress websites and expect this to work well. We need something like Udemy has, where it's a platform, then, if that's what we're doing.
So you're saying that Udemy can be using ClickFunnels as their delivery system?
They can use ClickFunnels to sell.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, I guess if we wanted to, you could use a ClickFunnels account for that. But
Mhm.
if you had them separated on all kinds of different ClickFunnels accounts, then no, because there's not one central user database that way.
Mhm.
You're all the sales numbers going through different stuff. So if you want to have a thing where it's a giant list of everybody who's bought a course and all the courses are there, and ideally you wouldn't want them to have to put in a credit card every time they buy a new course too, right? So we would need to,
Store that.
we would have to charge all the credit cards. We'd have to do payments to the people, and so it should be, the content should just be on the one server. I mean, that's the content hosting is the easiest part,
Mm-hmm.
but we have to do all the other sales stuff through it. We have to have a centralized thing where there's data from all the courses at least, so that they can get a listing, right? So if we've done all that, you might as well just host the content there too.
So as far as an expense of hosting all of that content, which would include,
We can do it for cheaper than $100 a month, for sure.
mhm,
It's not going to be that expensive for the hosting. The expensive part is maintaining a custom platform, even if it's built from like Odoo or something.
mhm,
And they'll have to be. I mean, there's people using your software, so there's going to have to be customer support. There's going to have to be at least one or two programmers that are kind of there to keep stuff going at all the time.
mhm.
You know, whether it's me and somebody else, or two other people eventually, or whatever. But that's something that we'd have to plan into the business model.
So which way are you going to go? I mean, right now, the course
What-
your course that you're trying to get me to sell is teaching people to do everything on their own,
Mhm.
and yet you want them to play in a sandbox that you've created.
Mhm.
Why the hell would they do that if you just taught them to do it all by themselves?
Well, because eventually it would be Udemy. That's why.
But then, no, it wouldn't be, because you taught them to do it all themselves. So they're not going to play in your sandbox. See, you got a choice. Sandbox. These are the boundaries. We set the rules. We make everything work for you. All you got to do is create your content, and we'll take care of it. Or you can do it all by yourself. There's a very clear dividing line there. Of one, what kind of people you're going to get attracted to that, and how many of them are going to get through the process. Playing in a sandbox. In other words,
And there are a lot of people doing that stuff. Udemy, Teachable, Mastermind.
Yeah, there's a lot of people doing that.
So it works, but we'd have to figure out why we would be able to beat them at their own game.
Well, it's very simple. I mean, just like anything else, those are all cookie cutters. I was actually just looking at an article about that, how to disrupt an industry, because that's really what you're talking about. It's already happening. People are already doing it, right? You got Mastermind, you got a game. They're already doing this stuff. So, picking a single industry and an organization that's disrupted that industry, why was Airbnb so disruptive to the lodging industry, or why was Uber so disruptive to transportation, or why was Chick-fil-A so disruptive to fast food? Figure out then how would you do that in this online world? Because that's what if you're trying to go down that road and play in their sandbox and play in their marketplace that they're established in, how do you break it? Make yourself a unique value proposition.
Well, and there is another piece of this as well. I mean, there are many pieces and facets of this, but another thing is protecting with our church and state protection that we have as our foundation. So we promote free speech. People can talk about stuff that they wouldn't be able to talk on any other platform in ways that they are protected. And like practitioners, like Reiki practitioners or other people like that, who are afraid to practice their stuff because of the way it conflicts with traditional medicine, and people go to jail for that stuff unless they got their ducks in a row and they're protected because it's part of their ministry. So we help provide that for them as well. So
And that provides value to me. How?
not to you.
But,
yeah,
well, okay,
not
so
to you.
so then again,
But
going
it's
back
another-
to no, I understand, but going back to what I'm saying is, so basically what you've done is then you're saying, okay, well, the really only the unique value you have right now is that that we're protected because we're inside of this thing. Well, that's great, but I don't care.
Yeah, because the industry doesn't need that.
Correct.
Yeah, it's
So
unnecessary.
so then you've eliminated a whole spectrum of industries because your only unique value proposition is this thing over here. That's not going to help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, get that.
I mean, yes, that is a value proposition to that specific target marketplace.
Sure. Yeah.
But what is the disruptive? Why are we going to be better than Mastermind? Why is it better than Udemy or Teachable or whatever? What's value? What value is there?
Well, and for one thing, it's the establishing you as an expert in your field. No one else is really doing that, especially the way we do it. We do it in such a way that it's like undeniable. You're an undeniable expert in your field because you made it through this 6-month process.
But if you go through the
No,
six,
no,
okay,
isn't it?
yeah, but if you go through the 6 months process, you're just teaching them.
Yeah.
They don't need you.
Right, that's correct.
So
That is correct, but we want them because we built them into this incredible
I understand
property.
that, but what? But
That's why these are pre-qualified people that we want to work for.
I understand, but
Work
what?
with.
Why would they? Why would they come inside and play inside your sandbox where they don't have the control? They don't have all their control and all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When you taught them to do all by themselves, you give them all the skills to not need you, and then you want them to need you.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's not even a tangible benefit to them. Like, it's difficult to explain.
No, there's not. That's what I'm saying. You've taught them to be self-sufficient in this marketplace, and you've actually given them the steps so they can go out and do it again, and replicate it, and do another course, and be an expert in whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You give them all that information, but you want them to come play over here in your free university with no benefit to them.
Like I said, that we're giving them, hopefully we're bringing them, just like Olympia Life Coach, I'm making the phone ring. They can't make the phone ring on their own.
Yes, they can, because you taught them how to do
We're
it.
teaching them here,
They have a website. They have a phone.
Yeah,
I was going to say, what do you mean?
We're teaching them how to make the phone ring here,
You've already taught them all that. So if your course is teaching them how to do all this stuff, make the phone ring,
Mm-hmm.
how do you come back and say, oh, but come over here and we'll do it for you, even though we've already taught you how to do it yourself.
Yeah.
And it's sustainable, and you don't have to do all that work, and it's blah blah blah. So that's a hard backpedal. So I mean, that's a lot of backpedaling to try to resell them into that free university.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah, we didn't even figure that piece in.
Mhm. Or you change how you're selling your course.
Well, like Daniel said, if we were doing it proprietary, then that would be the
Well, yeah, I think that's why it goes back.
that would just make us the same as everyone else. Not Mastermind necessarily, but Udemy, some of the other things that are actually a platform.
Mastermind's a platform.
It's a platform as well.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah, that's all it is, basically.
Yeah, now. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's got all the training stuff to get people in, but
Uh-huh.
the website is just a teaching platform.
Uh-huh.
It's got some cool stuff that's a little different, like you can do live classes and stuff, but yeah,
Mhm.
it's just another teaching platform.
Mhm.
It's actually just a way to make money.
Yeah.
Just telling you, that's all it is. It's just,
Yeah.
they just want to make money.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of, you can tell it kind of went downhill because of the three people, only one of them, Dean's the only one really involved.
Mm-hmm.
Tony just made an appearance and Russell's basically out. He's just selling his thing as a side guy, so.
But Tony's doing his own thing. He actually has just rolled out. He's got live events going on again.
Yeah, that's what Tony's always wanted to do.
Yeah, he doesn't. This isn't his thing.
Well, originally
it's not his style.
it was a partnership between the three of them.
Yeah, but it's not his style.
Yeah, that's why he's out.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, his name's still on it, but it's
Yeah, he just given them like, oh, I'll give you, a thumbs up, basically.
yeah. Here's a picture of me and Dean on the front page, and
Yeah.
walking on the beach in a nice tropical location, making it look like we're all super successful. And
They
Tony
are.
is.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, they are, and
Yeah.
but so I think you got to decide what you want to do
Mhm.
first. You can't do both. Not right now.
Well, definitely what we are doing, which I think is in line with what we want to do, is we are developing those experts that we want to work with.
Correct, but how you reel it back in and put them in your sandbox?
Yeah, that's an important piece. We need to figure that out.
You can develop experts without teaching them to do all this stuff by themselves.
Yeah.
That's the other side of it. You don't need them to know their own create their own web page, and know the SEO and all the other things that you want them to do for them to be an expert in sales. For example, all they got to do is write their content 500 words a day, and they can be the expert. And
Well, we have a lot of other things in there.
Not really.
Yeah.
Well, we can cut a bunch of it out.
That's what I'm saying. You've got a bunch of stuff in there that if you want them to play in your sandbox, you don't need.
But we want them to go through the exercise of getting their own citations, right? As seen on CBS, ABC, NBC, Fox News. That's coming up.
Yeah, but like we don't need to teach them
That's not-
SEO
that's not what I'm
keyword
talking
stuff
about.
necessarily. If
I'm
they're
not talking about that kind of stuff. I'm talking about the actual stuff that you. Hey, we're going to teach you to get your own .com. You need to learn how to write your post SEO. They don't need to know that. That's not.
Well, I think we want them to have that in place because that's what makes them an expert in their field. So when we say that we have, you know,
Okay.
Daniel Mark Schwartz is our lead trainer in this division.
Mhm.
Just because we said Daniel Mark Schwartz, someone can type that in the search engine and all that stuff's already in place. And they're like, oh shit,
Yeah,
this
okay.
guy's for real.
Let me explain this to you slowly, so maybe you'll get it this time.
Okay.
I'm going to try this again.
Mm-hmm.
If they already know all that,
Mm-hmm.
why in the world would they come back and play in your sandbox? That's what I'm asking you, and I'm telling you that they don't need to know all that stuff to be an expert, because it could be handled behind the scenes, if you want them in your sandbox, by your organization. Now that's a completely different value proposition, and it brings a lot of value to people who's like, it's like this.
I'm not qualified to do that. Yeah.
It's like this, okay? How many hundreds and hundreds of books are written by ghostwriters?
Yeah, most of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, people like me who have good ideas to communicate that don't have the time or the inclination to write a fucking book,
Mm-hmm.
pay someone to write a book and put their name on it, right?
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Basically, what you're saying is, theoretically, one possibility of way of doing this is, we're going to make you an expert in this. All you got to do is provide the content. We're going to do the rest of the work. We're going to show you how. We're going to the backside of it to get the word out there, get everybody to see it. Blah 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 blah. For that, it's going to cost you this much, and when you start selling, we'll get a percentage.
Mm-hmm.
For example, so you eliminate a good chunk of the course material, let them focus on the area that they're experts in, because that's why you want them. You don't want them because you don't want these people because they can do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You want these people because they have skills, abilities, and knowledge you don't have, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why are you spending a lot of time trying to make a chicken a duck? Does that make sense? What I'm asking?
Yeah, but I want them to be the best chicken they can be.
Right, but that doesn't mean they need to. But the best chicken can't swim.
Right, that's why we take them through this process.
Right, so you're trying to take a chicken a duck, and then you want them to come back and be, after they learn how to swim and do all this other stuff, you want to come back and scratch in the yard because you want to teach them the stuff they normally do.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. That doesn't logically compute.
Yeah, I don't know
You
if
see
we
what I'm
want to. I get the idea.
I don't know if you want to
Like,
either.
I have
I just think you need
clients that I do this with, for instance. Okay, so there are different ways to do it. I've done it both ways. I've done it where I own the .coms
Mhm.
and I build them for them
Mhm.
and I've done it where they build the .coms
Mhm.
and they do it all themselves. They own the .coms, right? I own the .coms. They own the .coms.
Mm-hmm.
So when my concern is for the dropouts. The dropouts. So either scenario when you drop out, when they drop out, you own their .coms, but they don't care about them anymore. They're
Right.
not answering the emails. They dropped out.
Right.
It's like, oh, this is not me. I can't do this.
Mhm.
I'm doing something else now. I changed my mind.
Right.
Change my direction. So then I was stuck with the .coms, which have great SEO, blah blah blah, all this other stuff.
Mhm.
But I don't own their likeness. I don't own their name. I don't own their likeness. So it's useless for me, right?
Not
Because
necessarily.
I've built this.
Depends on how you.
I've built this personality. The personality is mine. I built that. The copyright on that lies with me. But their actual name and their likeness, that's still theirs.
Right.
So I can't use that. So now I have this property, good property, I can't use. If
Well-
they own it, then what happens is, and I develop this product, and maybe I've developed the product and I split it with them, right?
Mhm.
No problem. That works until they stop paying for the domain, and now I have, now their likeness is gone.
Right.
All the work I did with them that built their
I understand
image
that.
up there, that's gone.
Either way,
So-
well, no matter what you do.
I would like to end up develop this in such a way so that St. Paul still ends up with a product that they could sell.
And then there's a couple things you first need to understand.
Yeah.
One, they need to not be, their business name or whatever can't be them. Okay? It's
Mhm.
not, you don't want to make Daniel Mark Schwartz, I mean, you get rights to his work for your university, great. But how you gonna get them inside? How you gonna get those people there? Now, who's gonna teach content? Great. That's what I'm saying. You've got to decide which way you want to go. Are you creating experts that can do it all themselves? Or do you want people playing your sandbox?
Probably both. I want to empower people to do if they rise up to do it on their own. Then
Let
they
me.
should do it on their own, but I should be able to make money on their product as well.
Well, we're missing a piece. If we've given them all that,
Mhm.
and then what are they getting from us to continue the association? And I know we want all kinds of stuff, but they need a reason to want to continue to be part of it. What is that? We haven't figured it out. Because we could force them to be part of it, not force them, but entice them by giving them only the parts they need to do on their end, and we cover the other part. That was the original proposition you said,
Yes.
like with Olympia Life Coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if we're forcing them by teaching them how to do all the stuff that Olympia Life Coach did for them,
Yes.
and then saying, okay, well, we'll still do it for you, then there's no point for them to necessarily stay.
Because what you've done, I mean, you've taught them to. You've got them to create their own business,
Yep.
their own tax ID,
Mm-hmm.
collect their own payments.
Mm-hmm.
They've got all this infrastructure set up for their product. Why would they need you? And
So-
you've taught them how.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, you know what? I got another idea. I'll just follow the same steps and I'll roll out another one.
Yeah. Exactly.
And now, again, then they don't need you.
Mm-hmm.
And if we gave them some other ongoing service
You see what I'm saying?
that was not something we've already taught them how to do, or something that they wouldn't want to do themselves.
I got lots of things that I want to do myself.
Yeah. So what are they?
I've already told you. I don't want.
Yeah. Don't want to write a book.
I don't know. It's not just I can get content. I can write the words. I can even write that stuff. Do I want to figure out how to take my words and spin it so Google likes it? No. I don't want to. That's not something I'm interested in.
Yeah, we also don't want this to be too labor intensive Daniel and I don't want to do all this work for someone. We want them to fill in the blanks. We provide them the blanks, they fill them in.
Right. So
They don't even have to know what they're doing actually. If we
depends on which way
format
you
it
go.
like that.
That's the thing is you're basically. It sounds to me like you have basically diametrically opposed business models at this point in time, and you haven't figured out which one you want to use. Does that make sense?
Yes, but I want both.
Yeah. You can't do this. Okay.
I definitely want both.
But they're not the same customer though.
Yeah.
They're not the same. That being said, I get you want both, but they're not the same customer.
Uh-huh.
They're not. They're two different people.
Geez, what did I do?
Yeah, you just made that.
I did.
You see what I'm saying?
I just painted myself black. Let's
Take a break?
let's put this on the board.
Well, if we had some cool whiteboard space on our computers, we could all do it without standing up.
That's right.
I can send you a link. Get him.
I'll get a fake towel and wipe it down right off. Oh. Well, it all depends. I think the way you do it, I think the market approach needs to be, hey, start with market approach is you get 4 or 5 people. You can do that yourself. And you help them, okay, they turn around and research the technology. Well, I mean, if you've got buy-in and you've got something that's actually marketable, you know what I mean? And then not everybody's idea will be your money. That's okay.
Yeah. So I'm trying to express my dilemma so that we all can figure out a way. I mean, we have an incredible group of minds here. We can figure out a way to make this work. John Maxwell. Is that you?
Mhm.
Okay.
John, you know who John Maxwell is, right?
Yeah.
Author,
Yeah, yeah.
speaker,
Yeah.
right? Trainer, pastor, coach. You know he has John Maxwell team. His team.com.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that is?
No.
You know what he did?
No, don't know. No, not sure.
He took all his content.
Well, wait till Daniel gets in here. Don't let Daniel hear this too.
Okay.
This is good stuff. Oh, this might be like Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn's done this. All of his teachers teach all of his stuff.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
And Bob is that guy for a Jim Rohn teacher
Bob is.
who's in our group. And I like the idea also about me, like if I can go through our St. Paul's Free University catalog of courses, and I can go put on my own event and teach any of that product that I want to. Because I am that guy that can pretty much almost teach anything. I couldn't do your stuff because it's too complicated.
But we're trying to sell that to other people, though, right? How many other people out there want to go pick up a course and sell it? Most of the people we've gotten in here are afraid to sell their own expertise,
Yes.
much less go find a course they know nothing about, learn it, and teach it on the fly. There's not that many people out there that are comfortable or want to do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's who we're trying to target, we need to be very specific about that. And I don't know how we would find that or how many people out there are really like that.
David Gibson has something to share with us.
No, I was just. Which one are you trying to do?
John Maxwell.
One of the type of models that you're talking about is basically like John Maxwell did. John Maxwell has been a business and organizational coach for decades. You know, I was certified trainer in John Maxwell's material,
Mm-hmm.
mainly the team building and stuff like that. But what he did when he stopped writing, well, stopped being the public trainer and speaker that he was, he kind of stepped back. He doesn't do a lot of that anymore. But he created John Maxwell Team. Now, people I worked with, and John Maxwell Team is the second iteration of this process. The first iteration, he talked to Kevin and Linda Sasser, who were franchisees for Express, and that I worked with quite a bit. And they were actually the first ones that started this genesis with John Maxwell. John Maxwell was in Atlanta. They lived in Atlanta. He moved there. They did too. They were involved in this. About 2 years into it, John Maxwell decided he wanted to go this way, and they thought it should go this way. So they split ways. What John Maxwell has done, though, is basically he creates a team of coaches. Okay? You're using John Maxwell's material, John Maxwell's ideas, John Maxwell's stuff, all his stuff. He's putting his name behind you, and you're a local coach for a business. You sell it, and you use all his materials and get all his clout.
Yeah.
But it's given to Daniel, who's a local representation. Okay? That's one way to do it. Now, if you do that, then you don't want them to know everything under the sun. You want them to just sell your stuff. So, but you want them to sell your stuff and then be experts in their own stuff. You're not going to.
But that's why we want them to work with us. Because they
can't-
are experts. I mean, I like to be able to say, look, right now here's our founding members, right? It's just a bunch of names. But if we list our founding members and people like look them up and they're like, holy shit.
Like I
These
said,
guys.
you can't do. You're talking about two different processes and two different types of people.
Yo, absolutely.
Well, but you're trying to do that with one product. And it doesn't work. That's not going to work. They're not the same people. There will be people like you that want to grab someone else's material and go out and just sell and coach or whatever. Okay? That is not the same person that created the material. Some are. Most aren't.
But whoever our current lead trainer is, at the time, they have control over the textbook. So they can modify the textbook.
But the sales proposition of getting somebody in to be a trainer for something versus to create a whole new thing from scratch is completely different. So the way we'd approach people or find people for that are completely different. So we have to figure out which one we're doing and when. Now, we kind of talked about doing it to where people in this round, like in this course that we're teaching now, are the ones creating material, obviously, right? And then they're using their skills we're teaching them to find their own people who are being their trainers, right? So they go through the course, they get certified, and then we would have to help we'd have to help this round of people learn how to bring people in, how to, cut them in and all that stuff, and do that aspect of it. But we still haven't resolved the fact that we're having these course creators come in, and why would they stick with us? What value can we offer them after the end of this course? Because they already know how to get clients, so the 50-50 client thing isn't, theoretically, is not necessarily the top of their list. Unless we would need to drill that in from the beginning. If we wanted to convince people, we should have been selling our end product, which is being involved with St. Paul somehow, from the beginning.
Yeah.
But, so we need to figure out what value we can give them after this. Who is somebody that knows how to sell, they have the expert status, and all that stuff. So it could be software, if we want to go that route. They're in our platform, they use our software for everything. Or it could be we have some more higher level professional services that we're offering them to help support what they're doing. But
so we basically, I think it's important for us to control all of the end data. I mean, that needs to be a part of what St. Paul's offers.
well, then we need to change how we're doing the course completely.
Yeah.
If that's the goal.
You got no control over what I write or what I put out, or anybody in this course.
No, not for your thing.
Right. So what?
But for our textbook,
Right, but then
we have a basis.
yeah, but it doesn't seem to me like you understand how your two concepts don't line up to work together. they don't. You can't do them, like I said, the same people at the same time. That doesn't seem to work. They don't flow together like that. Again, you've taken somebody who doesn't want to be, or they're creating their own persona, their own brand, their own name. You're just telling them how. Okay, so they've got all this built up. It'd be like going up to John Maxwell or Tony Robbins and say, "Hey, by the way, I know you got all this fame and wealth and doing all this stuff on your own, but I need you to come back and teach at my course."
Yeah, I think we're maybe approaching it from the wrong standpoint because I think the angle you're coming at is, well, I've had a lot of people leave in the past, and we need to figure out some way to keep value from the people that are leaving. We need to pull as much content from them as possible.
Yeah.
But instead, I think it might be valuable to think of how do we give a compelling value proposition so that people do stay, right? Because to where we don't worry about the content they're writing, like we want the people. So what would be, is it community? Is it, what would be so compelling that people are like, yes, I'm like Tony people that go to Tony Robbins every single time, They're part of the tribe. We need a small tribe of people that come through this, that are their experts, and then they want to stay on board for something else that we're continuing to offer. And that they would not think of leaving or going on their own. And if we're not going to cut it out, if we're not going to keep some of the information to ourselves to where that's what we do, so it's a symbiotic relationship where they do half of it, we do half of it, if we're teaching them the whole thing, then we need to figure out something that, like, at the end of this, say we pick Jade or somebody, like, what would keep Jade wanting to be in touch with us, to do business with us in the future, continuously?
Well, we'll assume that Jade is not an internet marketer.
Well,
Yeah,
she
but
is. We've taught her.
We taught her how.
Yeah.
And we're attracting
Well,
people
she
that want to
knows-
learn that.
She knows that she has the skill set, but is it something that she wants to do?
Well, again, you taught her how.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah, why would
do
we
that.
teach them, if we're assuming they don't want to do it, why would we teach them that?
Well, it's like
That's why I'm going back to this. Why you
it's
take?
like taking a business class and you don't want to be an accountant, but they still teach you accounting because you need to know how to keep your accountant people that resonates with them. That's what they do. Accountable.
Yeah, but you. When you do that and you take a business class, you take a very, very high level, easy blow through course on accounting. You don't dive into.
Exactly.
But that's not what you're doing here.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's like the most circuitous possible way. Like, if the end goal is to get people to use our services, we should just start out with that from the beginning. Like, here's the thing: we're gonna provide this for you. We're gonna teach you how to be an expert, right? And just start with that from the very beginning.
I don't think I understand what you mean.
But we actually don't have that in place. We're just building the foundation now. We can't really
Yeah.
advertise it.
Well, we should have it because we're spending a ton of time building a course to teach people how to do SEO. If we don't want them if we want people that don't want to do SEO, we should never teach it to them. Like maybe at a very high level, but
Or at a high level, they need to understand it. Yes, they do.
Mhm.
But if you want them to stay, associated with you and have a relationship that makes sense for both sides,
Mhm.
then you need to be doing stuff for them that's providing value. Not that they can't learn it, and they can actually pay for a course and learn it. Pay for this course, get way deep if they wanted to.
Mhm.
But the people you're talking to currently have an idea that they think is valuable, and they think and they think they want to share that information. But in order to do that, they've got to do this, and this, which has nothing to do with what they're interested in.
Mhm.
You want to know why you have a big washout rate? That's part of it. They're thinking about, okay, I want to communicate this message, and in order to do that, you're saying they have to do all these other things they don't want to do, or aren't good at, or whatever. So they've got to believe in their idea so strongly that they're willing to go through go through the slog to get to the other side of that.
Which is really, it seems like the most painful point. Our biggest pain point is the 500 words a day. Is the biggest pain point with the people that we've had in. So.
well, It is, but I think it's going to be asking them to do anything. Is the big is if we were telling them to do something else every day, they would also not be doing that. So it's the time investment that's everyone's biggest issue with doing anything, is having to do it regularly and put time into it. People are more than willing to not do anything and watch a video once a week. You know, that's easy to get people to do. So I don't know that we necessarily need to cut out the 500 words, but if we're not going to, if our end goal is to have us be the SEO people that bring them traffic, why would we not do that from the very beginning?
Yes, and us be the business model. Like, they don't need to have LLCs. They don't need to have a bank account. They don't need to have Stripe.
Well, then,
That's something that we do.
Well, if we
that's not what you're doing right now, though.
Yeah,
That's,
I know. Yeah, it's not what we're doing.
So
right
we're
now.
doing-
It's conflict right there.
that's what I'm saying. That's
We need to offer that. Yeah, you're right.
so if we want to, I mean,
And they can do that on their own.
and they can figure that out on their own.
Yeah,
they can,
exactly.
but if you want them to be your partner, then you shouldn't, in my opinion.
I think you're right. Yeah, it's
You
good
should-
that we're nailing this down right now, because we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
Well, for the long-term goal of St. Paul's, you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, quit your job for life, you're not, because you basically you're teaching them how to quit their job for life, and not need you at all.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we want them to quit their job for life and need us at all.
Well, then that's like, so. I also think you probably need to change your name because they're not really quitting their job; they're just coming to work for you.
be our slave for life.
That's
yeah,
right.
we are slave for life.
I mean,
You know, yeah.
not quite coming to
Not
work.
quite.
They're more like freelancers or contract employees, but essentially they're still responsible for something somewhere,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I think the whole way of approaching it would be different
Mhm.
for this kind of person.
Mhm.
Because we were looking for people that really wanted to be independent, because we were teaching them to be independent.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're going to teach, I guess.
But I,
Yeah.
well, I don't think you really wanted them to be independent because if they're independent, they wouldn't come back and need you for other stuff.
Mhm.
It's not sustainable for you. Here's the thing: in order to do what you're talking about and making them truly independent, that means you guys are stuck every 12 weeks trying to get some people to buy into your idea and going through the process,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're gone
Mhm.
because they're independent.
That's
So,
good.
so you have a one-time client base basically.
Yeah.
You get them through the three, and they're one time. They're done because you taught them to be completely independent, and they can do whatever they want. They don't need to come back to you to learn how to be independent again,
Well,
right?
there are things we could sell them at that point that would still be useful.
Like what? You taught them how to do all the stuff.
Well, could be our custom software platform
Well,
if we wanted to do that.
but you've already taught them to use WordPress.
Well, we wouldn't teach them to use
And
WordPress.
ClickFunnels.
They would be in.
Yeah.
well, no. Let's
Yeah.
talk about. I'm talking about what your model is currently.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
And your
definitely-
current model is not a sustainable relationship.
No.
Okay. Let's go back to the basics. Do we want a sustainable relationship?
Yes.
Long term.
That's why we're doing
Mhm.
I heard it from you. I've heard you say that 15 times. Let's talk to the rest of the people in the room. Do you want a long-term relationship?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So you want returning customers that come back and either they're doing their thing and they're making you making everybody money with their ideas,
Mhm.
or they're coming back and buying stuff from you and taking more courses or whatever.
Mhm.
Okay. That's what that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
goal is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then the course you're teaching is not designed to do that.
I see that.
Yeah.
Okay. We're all on the same page here. Great.
The way we're doing it now.
That was a long, painful process. That hurt my heart. That took way too long to get there. Now, let me ask the next question.
Mhm.
Do we ever want to teach people to be completely independent from you? Is that something you're ever going to offer?
Maybe not.
Okay. Now,
Maybe not. That would be incongruent with who we are, what we do. Yeah.
Now, let's go down the list even further. Do you think it would be wise to understand that certain people have certain skill sets, and when you find someone who could speak to Google, you teach them that, and bring them in and pay them a percentage of what they generate on pages for other people who create content like sales or marketing or whatever that don't understand all that stuff. And you create a symbiotic relationship with you building a team for yourself that does SEO, does back-end support, because you've taught them how to do it your way.
Mhm.
And you're pulling in people who have the creative types that do things like you know, dog training websites and Reiki healing and sex stuff and sales and marketing and, you know, how to grow a spider plant and whatever else people are passionate about, right? And so you're creating two different types of people inside your framework. People that do this fun, this creative kind of stuff, and people who know how to talk to Google. Those people aren't necessarily the same. People who know how to talk to Google may not have an idea they think is or may not have an idea they think is marketable, or they don't want to market their own idea or put themselves out there or be the face of something. They just want to sit in the background and make something go really smooth and get lots of traffic, and when they see the traffic count, they get their high there. All right?
Yeah, I don't know if we want those. I don't know if we want that much of the pain for us to absorb on our end. Maybe that's part though of our.
What's your value proposition?
It is because, like with the Olympia Life Coach model, I was doing all that stuff in the background. They didn't know.
Right. But see, and that's the thing is, you can find if we find other people who can do and learn what you do, right?
Yeah.
Optimizing content that's written by somebody else, and going through and just figuring out, okay, they dropped their 500 words, and you read their content, and you're like, okay, I get the point of this message now. How do I make it SEO good? You know? And you find other people like that, and then you've got people working together to create this content and stay inside the platform and sell and market and set up click funnels and all that stuff. And then you have something of value to offer everybody, not just the guy over here who has an idea that wants to write a book, but the girl over there that doesn't want to write a book but wants to learn how to make money working from home. And they make money because they help somebody else get their stuff on the market and generate traffic. I mean, because you need both. You're trying to take, right now your current course is trying to create one. You know, you're trying to make everybody be able to do it all. And that's not really most people. Most people that are going to be able to do it all, get this, right? They're already doing it all. They're already successful. They're already making their own money. You're probably not going to get in your course because they already figured out how to do it all themselves. They've got their own business, either online or whatever. They've got their own blog. It's already generating income. That's already happened for them. They don't need us. What the people that need us are the people that, hey, I don't want to go to work anymore. I'd like to sit at home and watch my kids and play with my dog and spend, 3 or 4 hours a day optimizing SEO content for somebody else. And getting paid residuals on that. Because they get 10% of the sales because they generated it, whatever the number is.
Right. So if we had
those people in the background that we could put with, a me.
Which would be another course that we would offer, and that's how we
correct, and it would actually be this course, but the other stuff stripped away, just the SEO part of it.
And we're not teaching that now to our regular people anyway.
Well, we are now, but we have to change it.
Yeah, but I mean, I like the idea of them doing the work. So we have them fill in the blanks, like when we come up when we're working on
You're talking about like
the
name.
funnel.
Doing which work? Which work are you talking about? There's lots of work here.
There is a lot of work there.
So which work are we talking about?
So we start off with their 3.coms.
Right. So you want the content creator. We got the create. How do I put? Because these are two different students. That we need both types of working together to make this all happen. Right? And the other thing about that is, here's the thing. When you start breaking it up, or maybe there's 3 students that are working together because 3 types of students, right? There's a content creator, and then there's an internet marketing person, and there's an SEO person, maybe, that are all they're all working together. They're all part, this guy's contributing this, and this person does this part, and this person does this part. Now the value proposition for each one of those is very simple. Look, I'm really good at creating ClickFunnels and getting internet traffic. Great. I got a great idea and I can write a book. Great. Look, I can make SEO and talk to Google. Great. All 3 of those skill sets together make it complete. And they're not alone. They don't feel the burden of having to do it all themselves. They don't feel that isolation because it's all.
They don't feel like they have to
become
become this other person in order to make this
right. They don't have to become a chicken. They don't have to become a duck in order to be successful. They can be their chicken. Let them be the best chicken they can. They focus on their strengths, you know. And this is part of what I think we talked about this like 5,000 years ago, dude.
Mhm.
Focus on what you're good at, let somebody else do the rest. And that means we're not teaching them all the stuff that they're not good at. Unless I'm wrong, you're here just listening. You can say, you know what, anytime you want.
We're definitely giving them too much.
Well, yeah, we can't expect people to work in the office and the factory and do sales and marketing and all that stuff at the same time.
Yeah.
Well,
Not necessarily. There are people that can do it.
there are people that can do it, and but they're probably already doing it.
Yeah. Or I mean, we can find people that could do it, but there's such a minority that.
Mhm.
Plus, we run the problem. What do we do for them after that?
Yeah, well, and I think the long term relationship is more. You were asking what's in it for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, well, for someone like me who doesn't want to spend all the time learning to speak Google, what's in it for me? All I got to do is talk about what I know. I'm out of it. And at that point in time, I'm done.
Mhm.
There's somebody else figuring out the other stuff.
Mhm.
You know, that's valuable to me. Now, figuring out the distribution of proceeds, that's another whole different game we got to figure out.
Yes.
But there's value in every one of those people. You know,
So what we're doing is we're building individual teams.
no, we're bringing people into our system and partnering with people with complementary skills. The reason they stay in our skills, they stay in our team, in our organization, is because when they're done with this project, they go to another one where their skills are needed. They stay inside of our circle because they're able to not go to work, quit their job, and do it all from home or the beach or wherever they're at,
Mhm.
and go on to the next project doing whatever they're good at.
Mhm.
And it's not necessarily the same team, you know.
Right.
The first project could be an SEO for this, and the next one would be the SEO for that. You know,
Well, you're not a specific team,
but
you know that because you're in St. Paul.
you have a team supporting you to do this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those things are always handled for you. It's maybe not the same person.
Correct.
It's-
And you guys can put them together. You know, we can look at the talents and skills and ideas and go, okay, this person, this idea works with this, and we need this. You know, and okay, this is what you need to do. Your part is to do this. Your part is to do this. Your part is to do this. And then, and it's on our platform and through our system. And maybe we own the .coms.
Well,
I mean,
why do we even have the SEO student people? Because I don't know that we need like 100 SEO. Because we're kind of going the
I don't think you need 100, but you probably need more than just you and Dave. The reason
Yeah.
I'm saying you need SEO student people is because you guys aren't going to be doing this all the time.
Well,
The idea is that you're not doing it anymore.
well, what if that part we ended up making like we outsource that, we farm that, we so that the St. Paul's business is the SEO. We hire, whatever, we pay people in the Philippines or whatever, and we get some editors local, and we have a process for the SEO that's in place that you and I don't do, but St. Paul's organizes for paid people, either contractors or employees or whatever.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. But you can create your own by teaching them.
Yeah, well, we would
that.
teach them, but it would be in-house, so we're not offering like a public SEO course necessarily. We're
Yeah.
bringing in the SEO people by hand, specifically, and then we're getting as many content people as possible. And our SEO, we just figure out the areas we want to be king of, so like Reiki, energy healing, whatever it is, and then we go out and find, 1,000 content creators that can do that stuff as far as making the courses, and whichever ones stick, they stick. Because it seems like a lot of moving parts to have, SEO students, to have content creation students that are doing the teaching and trying to get everything to work together.
And it doesn't matter however the back end works. That's behind the scenes, behind the curtain. They don't need to know that.
Well, it's not even back end. Like, how do the SEO people know what to write about?
Well, because the content creator writes their post and sends it to them. Sends it to St. Paul University, who then goes through and goes, okay, this is what this post is about.
Mhm.
Now how do I edit this so it's
Well, the thing with SEO is if you write the wrong topic or in the wrong way, it's useless.
right.
Yeah.
Topic selection is probably the most important part of SEO. So that means the front end people need to be choosing the topics, or we need to train the back end people, the content people, on how to do that stuff, which is SEO.
I think the way you do it. Okay, so let's put this in flesh it out for reals. Okay, So I think I agree with where you're going. That you actually you control who does your SEO. You don't teach a student to do it unless you find someone who's really good at it and you want to bring them in as an employee. You know, but then you're like, okay, this guy gets it. They can do it themselves. So let's partner with them and bring them in as one of our workers. So if that's the case, then you find content creators, people who have a message about sex, for example. Now, who picks the topics they write about?
It should be either us or the people we hire for SEO.
I agree.
What?
I agree.
For the topics of the articles, it has
For the titles of the articles, it has to be. Because here's the thing.
Because we're teaching the
'Cause-
people to do that now.
Right, but then you're teaching them to do everything. We're limiting that. The idea is to eliminate them doing everything.
And they're not a content writer anymore?
No, they are a content writer. They're just getting. What happens is, let's say, we can try this out. Let's say it's sales, right? You guys create a list of, every month, 40 topics, 40 titles, right, of posts that you want done. And then you give it to the person who's got a lot of experience or wants to create a book around that or whatever, and give them those titles. They go through and pick them up. Okay, I'm going to write about this one. They write. Because he said, content, title, post title is really the most important piece of this, right?
Yeah, and that our creators don't really get that because in their mind they're writing a book.
Right.
Yeah.
So we don't even tell them all this stuff. This is all backdoor stuff that we bring to them after they've done the work. Because once they've done all these posts, now you're ready to write a book. Now your book's ready to go. I didn't even know I was writing a book. You wrote a book.
Yeah.
There you go. You just edit it, put it together, and go. So you take, and then you have people who are passionate about a subject that can then teach the course because they've done it all. They didn't have to worry about any of their stuff except for focusing on what they know and what they're good at. They were looking to their strengths. They're staying focused on what they're really good at. Whether it's sales and marketing, SEO, growing a better tomato, whatever it is they're good at, they're focusing there all the time. Not learning 14 different skill sets so that they can get that message out. They're deepening their knowledge into this. John Maxwell doesn't teach anything but organizational excellence. That's what he focuses on. Okay. Patrick Lencioni, same thing, and he teaches it in a sixth grader's language, and John teaches it at a college level. But they focus on this. They don't try to teach other stuff. They focus right on here on what they, Tony, same thing. He doesn't do all that other crap. He does. This is what I do. Frankly, what he does, he jazzes people up. Makes them feel good about themselves and gets them energy. That's what he does. He's the biggest world's biggest hype man, and he's good at it.
But his message hasn't changed for 40 years.
Right. He's still teaching the same stuff. And why? Because it's a timeless message. It needs to be taught. People need to hear it. People find value in it. People want to pay for it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't go out there and change it up and say, okay, well, I taught, unleash the power within. Now I'm going to teach grabbing somebody else's power. He doesn't. He stays right here in his little wheelhouse. This is what I'm focused on. This is it. These are my boundaries. This is what I do. What we're doing, what your current structure is, we're teaching everybody to do everything.
Yeah, because we don't want to do it for them. We want to make them do it. We know the stuff that needs to be done. We're trying to get them to do as much of it as possible for us.
Right, but that doesn't work.
That's not working. I mean,
It's not working.
I don't know. I see, like Rosa, she learned how to do the AIO SEO part. For her, it's a video game every day. It's like playing a video game. She loves it. She loves it. She's like, I'm not in the green yet.
I kind of personally, I don't think that score really correlates well with a good article.
No.
So I think I kind of regret that those are there at all.
Yeah.
And everyone's getting into it. Like, oh my SEO score is going up. Like,
I don't care. That's part of the thing is.
Yeah.
I would rather write a good story. Screw whatever says. I got a story to tell, and telling my story doesn't necessarily lend itself to a good computerized generated scorecard.
Well, I don't think a scorecard even indicates that you're going to necessarily rank well.
No.
No, but I'm just saying, if I'm
No,
looking
it's
at,
like your focus key phrase could be totally retarded.
well,
Get right
Yeah.
there, you know.
right,
Like nobody's gonna click on that.
so
anymore.
why would I waste my time?
Yeah.
So if we're, I guess I don't know where we're going.
Yeah, so we don't talk about that anyway to them. We're gonna pull that out. We're gonna pull out the business structure.
Probably. They don't need one
Right.
because they're not selling it
We're gonna pull out the
directly.
SEO.
We're gonna pull out the bank account.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna pull out.
We're gonna do a high level SEO, not in depth, high level, like this is why it's important.
Yeah.
So, and we'll you introduce it like, hey, you're gonna be partnered with someone who knows SEO,
Mhm.
and right now that could be you guys, and they're gonna give you suggested titles to work with. Okay, it's really important.
We don't teach them because right now we teach them how to find the.
Why would you do that?
That's what.
But
So we don't have to do it.
Yeah, but then you don't have a relationship. What are you bringing to the table if
Okay,
you're not doing?
gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, so I've got to learn enough about SEO to figure that out. Well, if I've already got that figured out, why do I need you?
Mhm.
Because, I mean, frankly, setting up a business is easy. Getting a direct account is easy.
Mhm.
Seriously, it takes 10 minutes and a credit card.
Well, see, and we can think about this the other way because we're looking at, okay, we brought people in, now how do we do SEO for them?
Mhm.
I think it should be, we've identified that these are sites that we want to have, like domains that we want to have good SEO on, and
And
then
then
we bring in people that can teach that stuff.
that's exactly what you're doing.
So we're going to decide, like, here's, long term, here's our 15 websites on 15 topics that we're going to dominate. And then we figure out the SEO in advance, even, and then we bring in people that we can sell.
So we're creating like another part of what I do for people is to dominate a market is to create their own promotional vehicle.
You're correct. No.
So
Yeah,
that I
well-
teach them like you create the magazine that you would pay to have your advertising in, except for you own it.
We're doing that for
So
them.
We
basically-
do that.
So basically, what we're doing is we're taking all this stuff that you've done before,
Yeah.
and we're turning it all upside down
Uh-huh.
and shaking it up,
Mhm.
and flipping the model around to where you actually own the content.
Yeah,
That's what you want.
that's what I want.
You want to own the content.
That's-
You want control of that, right? So that means you own the .coms. So you find somebody that confront that .com and that thing,
Mhm.
and you pick subjects, and you still go back through and you create a person's name website to make them an expert and do all that other stuff too.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
you're flipping the script and saying, I want to dominate these things because I know that in the
We
next
already have it. Yeah.
10 years, these are going to be generating consistent traffic. I can make money at it. We can generate a good lifestyle for everybody.
Now we're talking. Yeah.
What if we teach? So one thing we can do to help get the content is during the course we teach them the idea of doing guest blog posts,
Mhm.
right? And they're going to do guest blog posts on our blogs about the subject.
Yep.
And we'll put their name and link to them, and so that'll give them some SEO stuff.
Yeah.
But we're telling them exactly what to write about, what the format should be,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
all that stuff.
And we own the promotional vehicle.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's our website.
And then when that person decides they're bored with that and they punch out, guess what?
Yeah.
Who cares? We plug somebody else in because it's not tied to their name.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's the missing piece of the puzzle.
So we don't want to create experts.
What we do.
No, we create. We don't want to create. We don't want them creating themselves to be an expert. We want to create the expert.
Mm-hmm.
You want control to create them and make them the expert. You want to do that, right?
Mhm.
Because that way you control it all. You pick the subject
Mhm.
because
They're just
look,
a guest blog.
pretty much, but they're getting paid for it,
Mm-hmm.
and they can teach content. And that's all nice, but you own the vehicle. So if they punch out, all you do is bloop, next person who's good at that,
Oh,
and you
I'm really good at that too.
and
so
you
we're really
eliminate
good at that.
and you eliminate
Uh-huh.
getting subjects like how to grow the best spider monkey plant,
Right.
because that won't make you money.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to deal with those people talking about stuff that's not going to work
Mhm.
or not going to be generating a high return. Because you've identified, you've done the research, you've got control, you've already laid it out. I know this stuff will work. And then we figure out how to sell it, how to market it. I mean, we've got the skill sets to do all that.
Mhm.
And we eliminate that. The biggest fear that you talked about was that you're doing all this work and then they get bored, we're done. Well, we fix that, we take that away.
Mhm.
You know, if the subject is sales and marketing, and we got John over here who's been doing it for 5 years and gets bored and punches out, well then we just keep his stuff up. Go grab Joe.
Yeah.
Get Joe developed as an expert with his own website. Bloop, put him in place. That takes 20 weeks or whatever, but we already know it takes 20 weeks because we've done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Joe over here, okay, we're gonna take Joe and get him going. Okay, now he's the expert. Boop, put him right back in that big money making website. Keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't lose the content. You don't lose any of that stuff,
And
right?
we can hire Indian people to create content in the interim if
Yeah.
we wanted to.
Absolutely.
$5 a post.
Yeah, we should. I mean, we should have some stuff there before anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen business models too where they get college students out for the summer, and they'll get like 15 of them, right? Because they don't know shit about this, but they're capable of writing intelligently.
Mhm.
We put them through like a 3-day crash course on in-depth SEO, everything that we know,
Mhm.
and then we decide on. We do the keywords research basically. So there's a giant list,
Mhm.
and every day they come in, they write 2 or 3 articles, and we pay them a fair amount, right? And it ends up being cheaper for the quality that you get than hiring an Indian who gives you like 80% what you
Yeah.
need.
Mhm.
So that's maybe not like the first round, but that's something that we could work towards. Or even if it's people long distance, in-house is probably better, but
Mhm.
we could do like housewives or whatever that want to do that kind of stuff too
Mhm.
as another option. So then we own the whole thing. We know it's going to work, and we don't need 20 weeks to make somebody write a book and be an expert. We could probably do that in a month, I would think. Maybe 6 weeks.
Mhm.
Because a lot of the time was the 90 days of blogging consistently.
Right. Well, they don't have to worry about that.
Nope. They don't.
Because we could get like some of those books where you can sell, I forget the name now, where you can sell that has the full rights or whatever.
Yeah.
Or even we use some of the blogs that we've written, crunch them together in like a rough book,
Mhm.
because we're already choosing the topics in advance, right? The kind of
Mhm.
people that we would want to accept. And we can give them half a book already written and be like, fill it out.
Yeah.
Why not? Because a lot of it's going to be the same.
Yeah.
Like we have Reiki people. There's going to be a chapter on the history of Reiki, probably. There's going to be some of the. So if we just give them a real crappy basic, I mean, we could literally buy that book for like $20, full rights for a shitty Reiki book,
Mhm.
and then they put their own spin on it.
Make it unique.
Mm-hmm. And then they would be they could probably do that in a couple of weeks, easy. And then if we gave them 2 or 3 weeks for are we teaching them funnel stuff?
Nope.
Well, so then we're going to teach them marketing stuff for their course page.
But we do want them to fill in the blanks,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Remember,
we don't
we're-
want to have to do that because we're not an expert in that field. They are.
I think they kind of need to do. I don't know if they're going to make the funnels, but we kind of need their content because they're the personality we need a personality that sells the course.
It's just like the rest of it, though. Yes, we're identifying the content and then finding the person to fit it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So they're going to have to be involved in the funnel, but they're not going to have control of it. That's
Yeah. What I meant by teaching the funnel is they're going to go through, write the copy that's specific to them.
Right.
They're going to put their story in there. They're
Correct.
going to do the videos.
correct. You're going to give them a worksheet.
Yeah.
Well,
we're doing that already, so that's
Correct.
going to be.
yeah, you're giving them a worksheet. They're filling out. That's it.
Right. Yeah.
Then it comes time to shoot the video. Yes, they're going to write a script, but again, you've already identified what needs to be said in that script. They already know what's going to be said, so you can help them edit it, whatever else.
Yeah.
Sounds to me like instead of teaching people how to become their own expert, we're going to create experts based on subject matter you guys care about.
Mm-hmm.
So, actionable items. Okay, let me ask this question: is that where we're going?
Yeah.
Okay, then we need to go there and stop doing this other thing, right?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, you're already in the course. You got to finish it out.
Yeah.
But then I think after that we need to do a reset, or in the same time, because that means you guys need to. I don't know what magic voodoo you guys do
Mm-hmm.
with identifying what markets and what topics you want to own, but that needs to happen.
Well, what if we start by choosing one? Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that we know we can get people for, like Reiki or something, that we figure out, because we need to put our business side in place so we know we can do the SEO and have that get traffic going.
It should be broad enough to include all of those things, not really specific. So, like, because like our next step in the phase of St. Paul's University is actually this is like the foundation, is to do like Higher Learning Institute, which is so that we don't have this problem with St. Paul's freaks me out because I was molested by a priest when I was 11. We don't have to worry about that. So
Yeah, then you need to change the name.
that's why we're doing Higher Learning Institute. Is going to be is the next.
What? Well, okay. Can I ask a question now? Then why are we spending any time at all trying to develop a name and a structure that we're not going to use?
Well, we have to have it in place. It's the separation of church.
I know you've got that, but
Yeah.
you've already got that.
That's why we're building the St. Paul's Foundation, and then on top of that, we're putting this other layer of Higher Learning Institute that other people, like, we're going to remove the negative impact of being called.
My head.
But what all do we need to do to establish St. Paul? I mean, it's registered, right? Like the website I think should just be like a placeholder with some basic information about it, and then a thing that says, what we do includes Higher Learning Institute, and then all we shouldn't even have an SPFU Facebook or anything. Like, why do we even need that? Because the more time we put into promoting that on the YouTube channel, the more time we're promoting something we don't want people to even know about necessarily, because we want to know about Higher Learning Institute or whatever else.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Why we do? We've got to figure out what's every ounce of energy you put into X. If your end goal is Z, detracts from reaching your end goal is Z because you're putting energy over here instead of over here. So what is the end goal? And then everything you do has to drive that end goal. It's called the flywheel effect.
Yeah.
It's in my book. Oh.
I read that on some blog.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mentioned it. I haven't written a story about it yet.
So I figured that we would spend a year doing the St. Paul's Foundation, and then on top of that, put a year out from now, basically, our beta group, launch Higher Learning Institute.
What are we doing with the St. Paul's in the next year? What's the goal of that?
To have a good list of founding members that are all experts in their field,
Why?
because that's the basis of Higher Learning Institute. So,
Why can't we just have them found Higher Learning Institute? Why do they need to found St. Paul's?
well, because we have to show the chain of custody, basically, from St. Paul's Free Church to St. Paul's Free University to Higher Learning Institute, so that the protection is there by the time we get to Higher Learning
Can't we just put in the footer?
Otherwise, we could have just done Higher Learning Institute first.
Well, can't we just put in the footer? Higher Learning Institute is a
Subsidiary of or
Yeah.
whatever you call a ministry of St. Paul's Free Church.
done.
Yeah,
Do that. Yeah.
I think that's all you would need to do. And in the St. Paul's, the university website, we just put a page about Higher Learning Institute and describe how it's part of our ministry. I think that would be enough to connect the two, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but
Yeah, it might be, except for that if we get to court, So I want to make sure.
well, why do we need third parties involved with St. Paul's Free Church? Because they already are involved, right? It's just under the name of Higher Learning Institute,
Correct.
and we've been transparent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, maybe we need a lawyer involved, but I don't see how that is getting founding members of a thing that we don't plan on doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that would give us more legal immunity.
Well,
I mean, as long as we're clear, we all over the place we put St. Paul's Free Church or whatever, St. Paul's Free University places, so that
Yeah, so it'd be like, we want to do it in reverse. So it'd be Higher Learning Institute, St. Paul's Free University, St. Paul's Free Church.
well, what's the point of the university if we're not using it as a brand?
Because for the church, it's the educational arm of the church, is the university, and then
Why can't Higher Learning Institute be the educational arm?
because it's just for chain of custody. So
Why do we need a 3-level chain when we could just have St. Paul's Free Church has Higher Learning Institute, and we can have the university separate? But why does it need to be multiple levels like that? Is there some benefit to that?
Well, I think so, because we're watering down the message. So we're like religious. It's like doing a tech college. Like for a church to do a tech college doesn't make as much sense as the church's educational arm doing the tech college.
But the Higher Learning Institute is the educational one.
I get where you're going. I think I understand what you're trying to say, Dave. You know, it's like, how many, first of all, how many religious universities are there out there?
A ton.
Ton, right?
Mhm.
All associated with the church.
Mhm.
And basically what he's saying is, inside that university, there's a college of this, and a college of that, and a college of this,
Mhm.
right?
But why do we need that?
Well, that's
Because Higher Learning Institute could be the college, right? It doesn't have the word university name, but institute is another
Well,
thing. Yeah.
hold on, let's be clear about this. A university has colleges inside of it. They're a college. So,
Mhm.
university, like the College of Mathematics and the College of Marketing, and college,
Yeah.
all right. Those are they have those broken out. And a university is a group of colleges that are focused. You know, they call them a college, but it's really just the line of study of whatever department they're going to, right?
Well, some of them are actually organizationally separate colleges, but
right.
Well, they
the
will
university,
be,
but-
they'll be.
but institute is just as good as university.
Sure, it is.
Like Massachusetts Institute of Technology has
Mhm.
colleges in it.
Yep,
right?
you're right.
So
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't think because if we don't plan on using St. Paul's Free University as a brand, which it doesn't sound like we are, I don't know.
I think I want.
Why would we have like Higher Learning Institute is also is like another confusing container within the other original one.
Mm-hmm.
So it might simplify things just to have St. Paul's Free Church,
So
Higher Learning Institute is the college university,
Mm-hmm.
and then within that we would have the whatever
So you want to use.
departments.
So you want to have two brands that are doing education.
Well, and
Two different brands that you want to build.
and we want definitely want a religious brand, right? So we'll do like religious stuff, but we'll also do secular stuff or metaphysical stuff. Like the metaphysical stuff's going to fit perfectly inside a Higher Learning Institute, right?
Mhm.
So, and I think that should be our first thing that we maybe focus on, not because of the Reiki people, but because there's really nothing solid for metaphysical people,
Mhm.
right? Everything is just like people just making shit up and throwing it out there. This is like way more structured and protected because we followed this process. So, the people who get certified through Higher Learning Institute are more protected than anyone else, and they'll be able to practice their gifts and abilities, which they can't feel like they're not empowered to do now.
Yeah, I'm not saying that we shouldn't do any of that. I understand that. I just don't see how the free university adds anything to that equation. So let's say you want to have a more technical side, right? We'll make a new institute or a new thing, and that sits beside it. So I'm thinking the organizational structure, and maybe I'm wrong about this, and that's why it's confusing. But
Mm-hmm.
what I'm hearing is you want the church. This doesn't light.
Oh, that smells good. Oh, here's some.
Oh, there we go. So what I'm hearing from you is you want the church, then SPFU is in part of that. This is educational,
Yes.
and then inside of that is HLI.
Yeah, and the other ones too. We have
Yeah,
technical
and other stuff.
colleges and other stuff.
I'm saying, why does this exist? Why not just do this one, and then you have your other college here and your other thing here that separate out the different kinds of things. And with this, and within this, you'll have like the Reiki college and the whatever energy college or whatever you want to do there.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see what SPFU is doing.
Because if you say that, if you say Higher Learning Institute's a division of St. Paul's Free University, sounds way better to someone in the secular world than saying St. Paul, or than saying Higher Learning Institute is a division of St. Paul's Free Church.
Yeah, but we don't need to be nobody needs to know except for in all the legal parts of the website, right? We don't need to go on our sales funnels and be like, guess what? This is part of St. Paul's Free Church,
Yeah,
any of the above, right?
Unless until we get to like the legal part in Reiki class or whatever.
Yeah, we'll just
Energy
put in
and-
all the footers and everywhere, St. Paul's
Uh-huh.
Free Church, St. Paul's Free Church, or SPFC or something,
Mm-hmm.
on a link. So if people want to dig in, they can find it, but because, I don't know that SPFU needs to be a brand that we need to promote, or the church doesn't need to be a brand we promote. This is just a legal entity, and it happens to own all this stuff. Just like my company is a Seek Forever, nobody needs to know that. It's in my website, so it's easy to find, but
Mhm.
that's the LLC that owns my off-grid website, but to them, they just see Higher Learning Institute, or they see off-grid permaculture, or whatever it is.
Mhm.
Because we're also, by having multiple steps, we are diluting the chain of custody. So then we need to the church, the university needs to be a thing that's active. The church needs to be a thing that's active. Higher Learning Institute needs to be a thing if we're incorporating all these or whatever. And I think this just simplifies the whole concept. And we can start out with a ton of stuff in Higher Learning Institute, right? And that could be the forward-facing brand. That's the website that people.
You already own that. You
It
already own
would
it?
be. I mean, there's the.
Yes, the .com. Yeah.
I was gonna say, do you own that domain?
Yeah.
Okay.
We wouldn't be talking about it.
Then well, let me be real clear.
Uh-huh.
That's a much better brand than anything else we talked about.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, that's why we're doing. That's why, in my opinion, it's important to do all the foundational stuff.
Nope.
You think just creating the entities is enough?
No, I think that if you own the .com, you need to make sure that .com is now owned by the church. One.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. That has to happen.
We're doing that within the next month or two, probably.
Well, that once it.
Transferring everything over, creating accounts for the church, the university.
Yeah. Well,
And create.
why you don't need it? Okay. So if you do that, I agree. I would get rid of the university. It's not. It's an extra layer of stuff that you don't need. Honestly, I mean, it's more to maintain. It's more to babysit. It's more to make sure it's up to date. It's more.
Plus, it's delaying us for a year.
And it doesn't necessarily offer value. There's not. I mean, there's no value in it. Once you've got the protection of the church. You've got the protection of the church. You don't have to have the protection of the church that creates a university, that creates an institute. You don't. I don't think you need to have that because that actually dilutes the chain of custody from the church protection because you've gone through a second entity to a third entity. There's more. It seems to me it would be less secure, less protected, rather than more.
Yeah, but as like a division of the church, St. Paul's Free University would be a division that handles all of the educational stuff.
Sure.
Just like we would have St. Paul's Free Press.
Then let me add,
Underneath St. Paul's Free Press, you would have other.
But St. Paul's Free University then doesn't need to be a brand you're building up.
No, just needs to be an entity.
Well, then why are we wasting time building the brand?
Well, because
Why wasting a year doing it then?
like I'm thinking if it gets to court.
No.
I don't
We
think
have
having
to
a
show we
list
have
of founding
something.
members on a website is going to be.
If it
prove
gets to
anything.
court,
Uh-huh.
you want it as closely tied to the church as you possibly can get it.
Mhm.
You want it as close to hugging that free speech, freedom of religion line as you can get it, and putting an extra layer in there distances it.
That may be true, yeah.
Mhm.
And we can always change this later if it ends up being otherwise.
Yeah.
I think that's
But I think if you're really worried about protecting yourself when it goes to court,
yeah.
then you want, in my opinion, I could be completely wrong, but I want to be as close to that protection as possible.
Mhm.
I don't want to have 3 layers between me and it. If I'm going to war,
And when I bought these things, I did buy them as religious organizations already.
Okay.
I bought them as, they were freestanding already, church and university.
okay,
And they switched over to Foursquare and changed their name.
Mhm.
I was there working on their course material and stuff, and I'm like, oh well, I'll buy that,
cool.
the old names. And so I've had them since 1986 or something like that. With this plan in mind of building this thing with all this protection, it's turned in. It's turned
That's
into
like-
stuff.
40 plus years, dude.
Yeah.
35 years.
Yeah, it's just a plan that's been a long time in the making.
Dude, what is wrong with you? You are dedicated.
Yeah.
That's a lot of investment. I'd have moved on. I promise you, I'd have been
It's a
more out.
long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I hate to shoot your 35-year dream in the foot,
Uh-huh.
but I don't think we need to put everything underneath the university.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's fine if you want to have it, and it's also fine. They could be, as in an organizational chart, they could be at a peer level. In other words, metaphysical, religious stuff over here in St. Paul's University,
Mhm.
and more secular topics over at Higher Learning Institute.
Mhm.
That could be true.
Mhm.
And just have and Then you're building two brands, which is fine.
Yeah.
But they're focused on different target markets. You know, St. Paul's Free University is focused on religious type subjects.
Mhm.
You know, not necessarily Christian theology, but religious type subjects. You know, and then the Higher Learning Institute is focused on other stuff. And that's okay. Because people that go to St. Paul's University looking for religious stuff aren't going to be freaked out by the name.
So Higher Learning Institute, just by the name of it to you, doesn't really imply metaphysical stuff?
Nope.
Oh, it does to me.
That's because that's how you're thinking.
Yeah, right.
Higher learning,
I think a person who's in metaphysics would think it is related to it,
but I'm not.
but a person who isn't doesn't think of that at all.
Oh, see, that's beautiful. Oh.
It kind of reminds me of the Institute
That's
for
what I'm
Advanced
saying.
Studies.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Because Higher Learning Institute, so I'm
Really
learning more advanced information.
Yeah.
More
That's
advanced.
beautiful. Yeah, beautiful.
It's not about it. Why would it be metaphysical?
Oh, yeah. So it'd be
Just
great
because.
if we put everything
So-
underneath there.
What's that?
We can put everything under
Higher Learning. Yeah,
Higher
absolutely.
Learning Institute, unless it's like specific, like
Religion.
religious.
That's a specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You can also. That's what it's going on. Is yeah. So you could have under Higher Learning Institute, you could have sales
Yeah.
and astrology.
Mhm.
And both sales astrology for sales.
That's right.
Collaborate Sagittarius.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
impulsive.
Right. I mean, you could do all that, and then if something was specifically like if somebody wanted to talk about, do a deep dive into the Quran, for example, that would be under St. Paul's Free University,
Correct.
keeping that protection, a really strong protection,
Religious emphasis.
religious emphasis,
Mhm.
and that's fine.
Mhm. Yeah.
And you can help both,
Yeah.
because your methodology is the same.
Mhm.
The back end is the same. It's just got different branding, different gift wrapping on it, different packaging.
Mhm.
You know, it would be no different than when you go into the store and you got Campbell's V8 juice right here, and right next to it you got the store brand. They're all made the same place.
Sure.
They got a different wrapper on it.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
National Frozen Foods right down here, that we're right here. They package foods for lots of big companies.
Mhm.
And if you go and read the frozen food bag, you'll see it says packaged by National Frozen Foods.
Yeah.
And it could be, Green Giant brand or whatever.
Yeah. Bird's eye.
Bird's Eye, they package.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we're talking about here. I mean, we're basically, it's the same back end. It's the same process. It's just what name's on the front depends on what kind of subject matter it is
Yes.
and what the target matter
And we
is.
know that we'll have far better marketing ability with Higher Learning Institute than St. Paul's Free University.
Except for those people that are, except for
People are looking.
when you're really going down a religious site.
Yeah.
Because if I'm diving into a religious subject and I see Higher Learning Institute, that doesn't, there's no connection to me there. But St. Paul, I know who St. Paul is.
Yeah.
I promise you I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He used to be called Saul. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a whole, anybody who's going down the road knows that name.
Mm-hmm.
He's the rock the church was built on.
Mm-hmm.
That was Peter.
Peter.
Mhm.
Close enough.
You're
No,
right.
but no, I mean, but that's what I'm saying. You go down this road of,
Yeah.
there's an associate. I get the name.
Sure.
Not one of the original disciples, but pretty much the founding father of the church.
Yeah. That's why I'm such a huge fan of him, because we wouldn't even know about Jesus if it wasn't for.
Well, he was the missionary. But
He was the.
He
He
was-
was the marketing genius behind Jesus.
well, I don't know about that.
And it was after Jesus was gone, which is even better.
Well,
You
yeah.
didn't even have.
We should get bracelets. That's not what would Jesus do? What would Jesus' marketing guy do?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I love that about.
So, if I understand correctly, where we're at this point in time is we're scrapping what we're doing right now.
Throw everything away.
No, okay.
Yeah.
All of
No,
us.
we're scrapping the packaging that we're doing now, and it's getting broken up.
We're definitely doing something different this next go around. for
Right.
sure.
Well, so that whole sales process we devised last week is probably not what we want then. Because it was designed to sell, the step thing,
One,
yeah.
two, three. Yeah.
No, you want to have that.
But the exact products we discussed are not what we want, because they were all around how to sell somebody on this course that we're teaching now.
Right.
Oh yeah.
We're not teaching this course at all anymore.
No, we want the same 3 steps, though.
Yeah, we want the price steps, but the first thing was to give them a win on selling on the internet,
No.
like some affiliate thing. No, we don't want to.
You want to, no,
Yeah.
we're internalizing that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. This is the great part about it. Instead of giving somebody else a win, we're giving ourselves a win.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to
Right,
figure
so
out.
the
a new-
first
We're
step-
selling your product. We're selling your product.
No, even better. Ready for this? Here's the best part, Dave.
Uh-huh.
Hi, Dave. We think you have some great personalities. Here's the product you're going to be selling. The marketing's already done. I just need you to go out there and be the face of it. That's what you're talking about doing, right?
Well,
We're identifying the subject
it's going to
matter.
take us a minute to get there, but yeah.
No, but you're already
we had some background work to do.
no, but that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right?
So we would develop a
Because we're talking.
metaphysical magazine.
Well, if that's what
We're
you
gonna go down this road
well, why are you choosing metaphysics?
because they're the most underserved and underprotected.
Oh, how about this?
Okay.
You got no resources.
Yeah.
Make some money first, then go help them.
Okay. I'm listening.
You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So rather than focusing on the most underserved, figure out a way you can make the most money the quickest.
Which would be
I
what?
don't know. You tell me. You guys are the Google experts. Tell me.
Well,
Does sales get more traffic than metaphysics?
it
Does marketing get more traffic than
It
metaphysics?
does, but those are really saturated fields. Metaphysics, there's nobody really leading that.
Yeah, as
that
far as a
market.
quick ramp up, like sales and marketing is very hard to get into.
Because there's so many
SEO
people
wise,
there working
yeah.
on that. You know, your
'Cause
competition.
there's a lot of
is
money
the
there.
whole world.
I know there's a lot
So
of money.
we got to find the balance between good, not too much competition, and a decent amount of payoff still, because it's a multiple. So we don't want to have to spend a year and a half building up our marketing website to get any traffic, which it could be.
Any sales it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, sales.
Unless you got somebody like me talking, I'm
internet,
afraid.
Yeah.
Even still, there's so much competition. It takes time to get up.
It is crazy how much information.
Yeah, and we're competing with Russell Brunson and
Yeah.
Tony Robbins.
And those guys have
No.
huge budgets.
You know, Russell Brunson doesn't teach sales, and neither does Tony Robbins.
But they're still after that market.
Okay, well they're teaching marketing, which is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not teaching anybody sales.
Yes, that's what that's why I asked.
Yeah.
I said sales or marketing.
Yeah.
They're different. They're not the same, guys.
But the thing is, sales. There is a lot of personalities out there too that are doing sales.
Yeah,
Or
Jeffrey.
there used to be. I don't know what there's
There's
now.
not really as. I mean, here's what happened to that whole sales guru. Because, like, you're right. 10 years ago, they were everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere. You know, Harry Beckwith and Jeffrey Gitomer and the Go for No folks, and I mean, there was everywhere I turned, salespeople, teaching people how to sell. But see, what's happened is, and this is why the sales industry needs to be disrupted, is 90% of salesperson's jobs gone away.
Yeah, it's a shrinking market.
Because you guys are doing it for us.
Mhm.
You know, all that work that I used to have to do to prospect and find and to qualify a customer and get them interested in the product, it's already done for me.
Mhm.
All the hard work of being a salesperson is being done.
Mhm.
All the shit I hated, it's been done. If you got the right website and the right guys behind you, all that shit's done. All I got to do is show up, be myself, make a friend, and know my product and know my customer well enough to connect the two.
Mhm.
That's the easy part of sales for me.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was really hard, what required a lot of effort in the past, is all that getting their attention, pre-qualifying, getting in front of them, cold calling 15,000 times. With the internet, by the time I'm talking to them as a sales rep for my company, just like at Syncor, by the time I'm speaking to them, they're already interested. They already have a desire. All I got to do is figure out if I can make their desire fit to what we do. That's it, and make the connection.
Mhm.
My job as a salesperson used to be 90 times longer. Now it's down to this little bit of it. It's crazy because I don't have to do all that stuff anymore. And you guys do. I mean, the marketing side does it for us. You know, the sales cycle, and that's just what I've been talking about. It's that sales process. The sales cycle is just gone. It is so short now. And you go and grab, you type in sales cycle, for example, and you get this 7-stage circle, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But when you actually look at what the activities that happen in that, you're right. A salesperson doesn't get involved until like in this area over here, because all the stuff up front, prospecting, contact, qualifying, it's all done via websites and marketing.
Mhm.
You know, you don't need a really truly professional salesperson to do those things.
Mhm.
You know, you need a good website, a good funnel,
Mhm.
and a couple customer service people.
Mhm.
So it's changed. I mean, when you go in sales trainers, it's funny. It's like completely changed from what it is. And you've got Dale Carnegie, still doing it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But as far as
Old school, yeah.
yeah, as far as individual expert stuff, it's not nearly as bad as or as diluted marketplace as it was.
Yeah.
Fighting for it. Now you put marketing training, and you've got 50,000 experts.
Mm-hmm.
It's just changed. But I think where we're at is you identify, and you're right, finding the sweet spot, because you want to have a viable marketplace that will make money,
Mm-hmm.
and we need when you do marketing training, ClickFunnels shows up.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
everybody shows up
Yeah.
because that's internet marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we want to figuring out that sweet spot is really important. Now, I don't think that metaphysical and for metaphysics is probably that sweet spot. I mean, it might be.
There's a lot of people with those, and I'll tell you also. I mean, here's what I like about metaphysics.
And then, and if that's the case, you don't need me. I can be gone.
Oh no, we still need sales, but
No, you don't.
we need what
You need marketing.
what we have is we need it's a fertile market because we have most of the people in that are women who are married to successful men who give them money to go away to do their metaphysical trainings and stuff. It's easy money to get access to.
Well,
that
so
particular.
if we're going that route, how are we getting that money? Because we're charging to be part of the course or whatever, right? But
Mm-hmm.
after that, is it commission only? Are they paying a monthly fee?
We get 50% of everything we sell.
So it's commission.
They sell. Well,
So we don't give a shit about people who have money. We give a shit about people who can
So
bring in sales.
there's
no,
that.
it's not. You guys, okay?
Okay.
Again, let me be really clear.
Unless we change the
Let
pay.
me be really
Yeah,
clear.
yeah, yeah.
You're not selling anything though.
Well, we're going to develop
No,
the
no,
online
no.
magazine for whatever it is.
Right, but
the,
let me be really clear.
the vehicle.
You're creating a vehicle so people can buy.
Mhm.
You don't need a salesperson. That's what I've been trying to explain this concept forever. Nobody gets it. You don't need a salesperson anymore. For 90% of goods and services out there, you don't.
Well, we want to get into the high end expensive side of things where you do want some.
No, you need customers. Say, really? What am I going to sell? Who am I going to go see?
The leads that we bring in.
No, I'm not. Because they're going to call in and they're going to get a customer service person to answer all their questions. You don't need my skill set for that.
Well, we think we do because we're talking about $1,500 to $3,000 range.
That's chump change, dude.
Well, I know, but I mean, for our target market, it's not.
Yes, it is. You just said all those ladies are sitting at home, their husbands are making all the money. They just get given a cash, go do their stuff. $1,500 is nothing, based on what you just told me.
Yeah, that's true. But we have to motivate them still.
That's all done through marketing.
We need somebody who can sweet talk little ladies.
That's not me.
Oh, yes, it is.
No, see, I think you're not getting. I mean, salespeople only really anymore are needed in business to business sales.
Mm-hmm.
When you call a person who takes an order over the internet and answers some questions, a salesperson, you're lying. It's not. They're a customer service person. They're answering some questions. They're not selling.
Well, they're not going to buy the upsell unless they've talked to a salesperson.
Yeah, they will. They do it all the time. Really?
Through the ClickFunnels.
I was going to say it happens every day.
But it could be the difference between 100 sales and 1,000 sales.
It happens every day.
I know it happens every day, but I mean, it could be better.
Okay, I'll try this again. What do you think a salesperson actually is good at?
Closing sales, getting maximum revenue for effort.
Okay. How does that play into a marketplace or an environment where there is no relationship?
Well, we want to build a relationship.
Okay. I don't see that in line. There's no relationship. You're developing subject matter experts and presenting content that you own.
Mm-hmm.
to people who are interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Well, they buy the cheap one. They buy the $10 course.
And
the
they're
$100
like, oh,
course,
hey, there's some value. There's
then
some
the
value.
$1,000 course.
Right, you don't need a salesperson for that. All you need to do is create and provide value.
Then the $10,000 course.
Again, Tony Robbins doesn't have a salesperson.
Yeah, he does.
No, they're not salespeople. I've dealt with them. They're not salespeople.
Mhm.
They take freaking orders.
Well, wouldn't it be better if you had a salesperson on the line with them?
No.
Yeah.
Or we found the really good leads and are like, let's call these people up.
Yeah.
Again, if you're talking to a business, yes. Tony's salespeople, John Maxwell's salespeople, are selling to companies, not to people.
Mm-hmm.
Their target market is a corporation.
So we need to be selling to companies.
If you want to sell this stuff to a company, you need a salesperson. You need somebody who will develop the relationship with that organization and work through the buyers and the influencers and all that stuff. But to sell to Amy Schmo, who's going to take your course online and like it and then take the next course online, you don't need a salesperson. You need an order taker. Completely different.
Do they have to speak good English?
Yes. Or whatever the native language of your target market is. It may not be English. You might be talking to somebody who's
That's true.
thinking
Indian or whatever.
they might be Indian, they might be speaking British.
Yeah.
They do not speak British in India.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about in England,
Oh,
where the
yeah.
sex lady is.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
American English and British English are not the same.
that's true. Yeah, you want them to speak the local
The
dialect.
local dialects or whatever. So that's my point, is we don't necessarily need a salesperson for everything you're trying to accomplish. I get you want to have a sales culture,
Mhm.
and a strong customer service type person will take care of that, as long as you establish a good culture and treat your people right. But you don't need a salesperson who does the actual art of convincing someone to drop a big giant wad of cash on a $15,000 training event.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Well, but a person's not going to do that. A person's going to buy a ticket to an event that you after you already program value. The salesperson doesn't get that person to buy the ticket. There's no person in Tony's organization that's cold calling me, asking me to buy a ticket to his event. Have you ever got a cold call from Tony Robbins?
No, but I've received cold calls from other people. From
Who?
I'm gonna give you
Who? Name.
a salesperson from Brandon Bouchard,
Who's that?
salesperson for Anthony. Can't think of what his name is. Bug about it. I have actually received, and it's always it takes the premise of a customer service call. I see you got our this. I see you got our that.
Mhm.
But it's always to sell the $3,000 coaching program. I get those calls all the time, and it's always $3,000.
Yeah. How many have you bought?
None, but because I already know that stuff.
It doesn't work on me. I know your tricks.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You're talking about an offer to somebody who's going to be. That's not a metaphysical sales pitch. There's nobody.
But that's somebody who got the $7 product or the
Right, but they're trying to offer something
$299
that's going to make them more money. It's not a metaphysical, whatever subject matter over here. Reiki
Do you
healing.
want to come to the $7,000 Reiki retreat with all the cool stuff? It's only for you. We saw that you got the original course. You want to make sure you get the most out of it. Or do you want a one-on-one, $1,000 an hour session with our expert?
No,
naked.
no.
Yeah, we'll get younger girls even. next time.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you. I mean, that's what I'm trying to figure out. What are you trying to sell? Because these are not congruent. It doesn't make sense. They're calling. This guy's calling you from Brendan Bouchard. You said, right?
Yes, yep. Brendan
Okay.
Bouchard and I can't think of that. Anthony Morrison. Those two.
Okay. Brendan Bouchard apparently has written some books that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
I've been in the business space for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got 4 books out there that I have never heard of.
Okay. Yeah.
That doesn't make me really super excited. Okay,
Well,
what's
Dave's
that?
got a beat. He's got 40 books you've never heard of.
Anthony what?
What did I say? Anthony Morrison.
Anthony Morrison. Okay, what's he do? Affiliate marketing. is one of the most watched internet marketing trainers in the world.
And I did get a call from Dean Grazione's salesperson, but that was like 15 years ago.
Okay.
But it was the same kind of a deal. $3,000 coaching.
Right, but these guys are selling business stuff. They're not selling Reiki healing.
True.
The ones you're telling me you caught calls from are in the world of sales and marketing that I was saying, and you're talking about Reiki healing and wanting to make a salesperson. I don't understand that connection.
I'm just saying that that's, for us, we've already discussed that. It's a pretty easy market to get in the pocketbook. So, but I'm open to whatever
No, I'm
that is for us to focus on. As
No,
our
I'm talking about the need of a sales.
effort.
No, I'm talking about the need of why you need a salesperson. Okay.
We think we need a salesperson because, like, people call us up, they chat with us for a while, and they hang up the phone, and they say, "Have a nice day." Nobody spends any money with us. We
Okay.
need that guy. It's like, wait a minute, where's your wallet, dude? You got a debit card in there? You got a credit card?
We need a con artist.
But my
we
question.
need David Gibson. We've said that.
No,
from
I'm not
day
arguing
one.
that point. I'm asking you based on. I'm not. That's not what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is when you're picking the topics you want to own,
Yes.
the Reiki healing doesn't need a salesperson. And return on investment of that developing that protection
Mm-hmm.
or marketplace may not be as the upside is not as great as marketing or disrupting disrupting a sales market or the sales processing or the sales industry or disrupting the marketing industry or there's the difference between this pond and that ocean.
Well, I get that.
And I understand that to make a drop in that ocean takes a lot more effort.
Yeah, we're gonna have to work our asses off.
But the return on investment for that drop in that ocean, even if you got 0.1%, is much greater than if you got 50% of this one.
Well,
So
I'm
I think
considering growth rate though. Like if we can get a smaller thing like Reiki or whatever up in like 3 months, and we have cash flow, then we can hire 5 writers and we can hit the marketing thing
sure, I
way
understand.
faster overall.
That's why I think it's really important. The first steps you guys got to do is figure out what 10 or 15 places you want to own.
Sex. Everyone likes sex.
True.
We need
I
naked
don't know.
pictures of
There
us
is
on
that.
the website.
I don't know how I'm selling that, but
And we already have someone naked. So.
sex, yes. But how do you sell that without getting arrested? It's called pornography
Yeah.
or prostitution.
And only in the United States do we do that. though.
They don't
do that
prostitution's
in
not
Europe.
legal in the United States except for Nevada. So
The UK has stricter laws than we do about pornography and about prostitution. So I don't know what part of Europe it is that they do that stuff.
I don't either, but I just know it's not here.
Jade says they don't have the same kind of hang-ups as we have here. So,
Oh, they don't have the same kind of hang-ups. It's just you can't do it for money.
like you can, yeah.
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 Well, and like father-daughter pornography is illegal in the UK. Any family stuff, they can't watch it there. They have way stricter laws over there about that stuff. So I guess some people are cool with doing it out in public or whatever, but legally they're not. So I don't know. She's going to have as much trouble as we are going to have here.
So I think the first thing that needs to happen is figuring out your marketplaces.
Yeah.
Like that's step one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe good.
Okay.
Well, because we kind of need to get that. If we're going to do that part, we need to get that part started.
Now,
So that because we don't really need to start selling the course because we don't have anything to.
right, you got to figure out what your market. You got to figure out what your targets are first, and then
I
you gotta-
like the idea of targeting our advertising towards a specific, like a really drilled down market. I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Because instead of saying, we'll make you an expert in your field, whatever that is, we're going to say, this course is for Reiki masters.
Mhm.
This course is for massage therapists.
Mhm.
This, I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah.
For target marketing, that's the best bang for our buck. Anyway.
Yep, that's awesome.
Really specific. Yeah. That is huge. It's a lot more work for us because we're making a lot more campaigns. But very cool for us
Well, that's
to get
why you
return
pick-
on our
well,
investment.
and that's why you pick the ones that are going to be able to make the quickest break into as well.
Yeah.
And then you figure out how to do scale it and do the longer term ones too. But
And there's no reason why like a Reiki one, for example, couldn't be a long time, right? We're just putting a lot of different lines in the water.
Yes.
But
Well,
we could be recruiting Reiki people for years.
Right. No, but I'm saying is you want to pick. Once you got to figure out where you're going to make an impact, what kind of work you want to do, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then work it. But the idea is you pick those subjects you don't want to dominate, and you dominate them. And you own the content, and you own the domains, and so it's all up to it's all yours.
That is exactly and that's a mistake I've been making too in the past. Like for instance, telling Peter to own all of those promotional domains. Fuck that! I should have owned them.
Yeah.
I should have said, I should have owned them, and I should just say, and then if our relationship goes, then we can figure something else out. He's gonna have to pay me for them or something. But I created them. I created all the traffic.
And then
That would have
and he owned
hugely better for me.
for you because then because then he could, then you still get paid on residuals even if you don't work there because you still have it.
Yeah,
it's yours.
It's my creation.
Yeah, or he's gonna buy it out from you
Yeah, exactly.
for a big fat check.
Plus, when people leave, like we're cycling out Reiki people, it gets 2 years down the line. We only have 2 Reiki people left. We do another campaign. We recruit 5 more.
Right.
Good to go. It doesn't matter. They can come and go.
Right, because you own the content.
And like my Reiki people, their best advertising vehicle is their own website. They own Alternative Resources Directory, and that has all the traffic. And anytime they want to put up an ad or try out a product, they put it up on there, and they own. And I should have owned that.
Yep. So why am I here again? I think I just got. I think I just fired myself. Right?
No.
It seems like I've kind of made myself not really worth being.
No, we're still doing the sales division. We're still doing B2B. We're still doing all that stuff. But this
Not with Reiki.
No.
But this is how we're going to finance that.
Okay.
We're going to finance. Right now we have no cash flow. Right now it's
We need cash flow.
Daniel and I out of our pocket
Right, you need
paying
cash
for
flow.
everything as we go. It's ridiculous. And we don't have money for that. We don't have any income stream from this yet. This is all just a labor of love so far.
No, that's how they all start.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does it seem like the paradigm shift that we're creating here is valuable and will actually work for y'all?
Oh yeah, yeah, it's huge. It's a huge shift.
You keep saying, you just, I like some words from the silent partner.
Yeah, I think so. I'll think about it some more, but it seems more aligned. We actually have an end game because it was always like.
And we have congruency. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah. So we have an end game
Mhm.
where we actually want to get people in because we've never really had a coherent plan for the St. Paul whatever part of it after the course. So it seems better.
And it seems like the methodology or the plan that was out there was basically not a long-term relationship. It was a short-term, 20-week relationship that you're previously kind of going down the road of a 20-week relationship.
Mm-hmm. Well, so originally the people doing this stuff were all people that were specifically asked into it, and so the thought was they would just want to be part of the organization.
Why?
Yeah.
Because they like you?
Well, that's another thing we haven't really talked about at all is financially, how is this going to work between the 2 or 3 of us? Because when it was started, St. Paul's is Dave, it's this whole thing. So with people that were going to be founding members, what do they get? Kind of a deal. So I was thinking there would be, at some point, we get people like Rosa and whoever else who gets started and has done this thing, then we would approach them with some kind of a deal, like you're a form of a partner, maybe a minor partner or something in St. Paul's to bring your expertise into it. But that part was never fleshed out.
Something or something.
Well, something. I mean, that's the thing you're going to have to think about too is how you want to bring other people in because. Do you want us to be employees? Do you want us to be partners? Do you want us to like what?
Yeah.
Because how are Dave and I going to stick around, or how would the other founding people stick around?
Well, I kind of originally thought that people might be grateful that they were now millionaires.
Well, yeah, but how you
They're going to be very grateful, and they'll talk about you in great from their mansion when they're doing their own thing.
Yeah.
You want people to not be grateful. You want them to,
be invested?
yeah, to grow with the company. Like, why do you want charity from people? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Uh-huh.
Like, they have to have some kind of investment in it. People do that are going to be founding members.
Yeah, this is another thing we need to figure out.
I already had this all figured out, so I knew what I was going to sell. I feel like I've been hoodwinked. The bait and switch happened, and I didn't even catch it. You're right, we do. That has to happen.